Alrighty, alright. We are live here with real news, another episode out for you peoples, and we're going to be covering a bunch of crazy shits happening all around the globe. We have Afghanistan, it's a total mess, Taliban's taking it back over, and we have parents rising up in the school boards. We have a lot of new COVID information that we can share and spread, and hope you spread too, because it seems like it's what's legit. Based on that doctor who was in the viral video in the school board, I found a bunch of videos he did that were pretty amazing. And so we'll talk about that. We will also talk about Christian Wolvics. I know his name is Alex, has been obsessing over it still, so we'll give a little take on that. Let's start with Afghanistan, since that's burning up right now. Basically what's happened, I'm dying right now in the game, is pretty much Biden. We were kind of pleasantly surprised initially because he was following through with Trump's plans to pull out of Afghanistan, which Trump ordered in his last day in office, second to last day. But it sounds like he's not doing it the way Trump wanted to, and that's why we're having a massive problem. And also because the Taliban doesn't take him seriously. Now China's probably going to go gung-ho in Taiwan. But what we're having happen now is Biden is now sending troops back into there. He's sent now 5,000 troops is what he's sending back now to try and stop this bleeding. And it's a mess. It's terrible. It's really bad optics. Even the mainstream media is kind of like, yeah, this is bad. And we're going to see where this goes. But I know, Phil, you have military experience, Alex, and I don't. So what is your take on all this? As somebody who's been there. Let's get that out of the way. You've actually been there.
Yeah, in the area that the Taliban is slowly taking away too. Like they haven't completely taken the country, but that part of the area, that's where ground zero of where the Taliban has basically worked its way into glorifyingly aggressive control. It's bad. So our thing was with our troops. Obviously, they weren't going to beat. Obviously, they weren't going to beat American troops, but it was with our pullout. The whole thing with our pullout was, we were hoping, the U.S. military, the U.S. military was hoping that the Afghan people there would be able to develop their own army, defend themselves, whatever. But it's
not working out so well.
It's not working out. I don't think they really give. I don't know if it's they don't want to, they don't care, they don't, it's whatever, or maybe they're just playing dumb so they can continue getting free shit or something. But it's bad. It's awful. The Taliban just basically, the Afghan military or the police or whatever, they're just withered away. They're nothing. Without U.S. presence, it's they've withered. It was nothing. It's embarrassing, and it's not only that. It's our generals. Our generals are horrible for this, because these are the people that were supposed to organize this after U.S. plan for Afghanistan to be able to literally help the Afghans be able to take care of themselves, and it's garbage. It's not they're not even there. It's a mess. It is an absolute disaster. And obviously we I'm all for getting out of Afghanistan. That's not the question. The question for me is how the hell do the people there just give up? It's they didn't even want to be their own country. Like they didn't want to like, and it's like, well, if that's the case, then why not either? I mean, obviously you can't just stay there for years and years and just occupy the land for no fucking reason, but like there is something, there's an argument to be made of, well, why can't we just stay there and just occupy the fucking country, and like now it's our fucking country until you learn to stand up on your own 2 fucking feet. But that at the same time, it's like that's expensive. Like that's expensive to a country. Like I don't know. And then like I don't know. And
apparently too, the Afghan troops would betray our troops a lot. That's what I heard too.
Yeah, I mean it's like they're very suspect, and it's like you got some that are good, but then you got some that are shady, and then it's like it's not a it's not a functional country. It's not. It's not a.
They can't work by themselves.
They either can't or they won't. Like it's like they're all over the place.
I don't think democracy is right for all countries. Like if you're too stupid, like if they're so corrupt where they can't do it, like maybe they're better off with a dictatorship. Maybe not that dictatorship, but someone who can at least instill, enforce power and authority into them.
I just don't think they're ready for freedom yet. I think that's something a society needs to kind of deserve in a way. Not every, like you said, not every society is, I hate to say it's sophisticated or well equipped enough to operate in freedom. And like we've even seen that in America, when things get out of order, when things become chaotic, that's when too much freedom can be a bad thing, and you need to kind of rein it in. But at the same time, you want to strive towards freedom. Like that is the
over there, it's like there's a cultural thing, because it's still a heavily Islamic country. Like it's still a heavily this Islamic country, and so culturally they have a different view of how a country is just even supposed to be run.
And morality.
Yeah.
There's other, countries over there that seem like they're doing at least, better than Afghanistan is.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Dubai.
A lot of them have like kingdoms. Yeah, like Dubai. There's a few other ones too. Like some of them have kingdoms. Maybe they need to bring back kingdoms. Make kingdoms, Afghani again.
Well, I mean, there's the, with the Middle East, like it's like oil is the dominant resource over there. But like with Afghanistan, there's not really. I mean, there might be a little oil here and there, but it's not significant like the rest of the OPEC countries. And I mean, you get a lot of. I mean, actually, one of their big cash crops is opium, right? So. Or poppy opium, which the development of poppy fields, I think it's actually gone up pretty sizably since we've occupied, which baffles me too. Like I thought poppy seeds were fucks. Like why would you grow more of that? Like or allow people to grow more of that? I don't.
And I think it just happens when you have a lawless society.
Yeah.
I think that, and like he said, the culture, I think that's the bigger thing, is the religion culture, is why why is it that all these, and there could be other reasons of course, but why is it always Western Christian nations are usually successful, but Middle Eastern Muslim countries aren't?
Well, when did they ask to be a democracy?
When we came in and told them to.
When we were, when we, divorced from England, like that was, like we had to fight a war on that. Like we, the United States, they really, really, really wanted it. When France wanted democracy, they really, really wanted it.
Yeah. They wanted it to the
England,
point that it worked. You know what I mean?
But this is like governmental segregation is a good thing. I'm sorry. Like I just like if you if you want freedom, you come to America. If you want to be ruled by like a, you know, if you want to have like a monarchy or whatever, take your ass to England, right?
Yeah.
If you want to be,
monarchy though. Like,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
it's probably more of a
or
monarchy.
or I forget, one of those Scandinavian countries has a monarchy too, whatever. Or if you want, or if you want to be ruled like by Islamic rule, hey, there's plenty of those countries too, right? It's like, we're not to for us. I mean, really, for us to occupy Afghanistan the way that we did was kind of an asshole move, right? It's not like, so when the towers went down, obviously, Bin Laden had to go, right? But
Right.
like, Al Qaeda had to go, but but the problem I had was, why did we just go and occupy this country instead of just go in there, bomb the shit out of them, go get Bin Laden, execute his ass, and then fucking leave, right? That's how it should have went down.
Right.
Instead, you stay there for like 20 plus years, trillions spent, and as we're seeing right now, there's not going to be anything to show for it. Like, but of course,
I think
what's up?
it was just a bad idea from the start. Like, we had Operation Enduring Freedom. Like, you can't have a military operation to force people to accept freedom. Freedom's not like autocracy. You can force them to be under your rule with enough power, but you can't force them to be free.
So when we went there, we went into Afghanistan right after 9/11, right? Right after 9/11. As soon as we found out that fucking Bin Laden had ties, the Bin Laden thing and the Al Qaeda thing, and they were responsible. Like, we had to go in there and go get his ass, right? Okay, obviously, okay, that made sense.
Right.
Let's go do it. But then after that, like after we went into the country, and then we just occupied it. Like, we were just like, we'll just stay here. Like, what the fuck are we doing, right? What the fuck are we doing?
Money in it. There's too much money in it, I think.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right. You're right. So the problem is, and I've said this so many times in multiple different aspects, political corruption is the number one problem. Period. End of sentence. Right? We could talk all day long. About the issues of, immigration, gun rights, abortion rights. We could all the political stuff. We could talk about all the political things we want. But the number one problem, far and away, is political corruption. How many military stocks did these congressmen buy? How many options did they buy? How many, like, for years, and they got rich off of this shit. And it's like you want to know what, like, it's just, and it was just like, I always say, and I've said before, war is basically it's economic cannibalism, because you're not really getting anything out of it. You're not getting anything out of it. All you're doing is creating your own economy, but there's no resource in which the economy is being created. So it's like you're eating your own economy. And but you think Congress people don't give a shit. Like, no, I'm making money. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I agree, and I think, obviously the lesson learned that we've been saying for years is stay out, don't go back in. The only thing I do approve of is defensive, self-defense, I guess is a better way to put it. Like, kind of like with 9/11. They attacked us, we attack them back, so nobody attacks us again. Makes sense. And that's something also I like what Trump did, is basically the peace through strength, America first foreign policy, which is if a problem's starting to come up, or is already happened, or has already happened, I should say, or there's going to be one coming up, you do a strike, a airstrike, a drone strike, to take out something valuable so that they back the fuck off. And that's what he did with Soleimani, with North Korea, in more of a peaceful manner, of course, and trying to get peace. But his foreign policy was always peace through strength. And that is the best foreign policy. And look at how much more stable the world was. You just got to look at that. Didn't have any problems in Israel and Palestine. Didn't have any problems with the Middle East. ISIS was destroyed. There were no terrorist attacks except like one or two under him.
Even then, and to a point, I agree with you too, Sean. But it's like, and even then, it was like, okay, I understood. Okay, so I understood going over there, right? I understood bombing the shit out of them. I understood even staying there until we got the people responsible for it, right?
Right.
Responsible for this mess. I understood that part. But after all that, after they were gone and we got all their intel and then wiped them off the face of the fucking earth, we spent 8 more years there. Or we spent, wait a minute, what was it? No, he actually died. No, we spent like over 10 years longer there than we were supposed to. Like, what were we doing? We weren't supposed to be doing anything. Well, we got rid of the bin Ladens. Go. Get out. Get the fuck out. That right there. You got his head on a platter. Time to go. Right? There's nothing else. There's nothing else for you there.
Yeah. And the withdrawals take time, so it should have been, like you said, an immediate thing. And the military also, this is what's also kind of goes back to your thing about corruption, which I agree is essentially the biggest problem, because even under Trump, when he ordered them to pull out, he told the generals, he sent the order to pull everyone out, they ignored him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Even when you're trying to do the right thing, the thing that we all want, your own generals on the ground just go, fuck you, and throw it in the trash.
Well, I don't think so much it was that. I don't think Congress gave the okay.
He doesn't need Congress. It's a presidential proclamation.
I mean, you have to approve it through Congress in terms of financing it, because even to pull out is financial. Like it costs money to even pull out.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So to do that, you're going to need Congress, and I don't think Congress was going to approve that ever. So
how was, because I don't understand, so maybe you do, but how was he able to start getting people out? Because Trump was getting people out slowly, and then he ordered that full withdrawal.
That's the only play you have. The only play you have is to just wilt the troop count down to where you could sell Congress on we only got 9,000 people here. Might as well just get them out too.
Okay.
But you don't. I mean, but again, Congress didn't give a shit. They're like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, and that's where in our country too, it's like
and they would let it too, and they would let those 9,000 people die.
Yeah,
they'd let them because then they could. That's another thing they could sell to blame Trump on, is the idea. Oh well, you just let them out there to die.
Yeah.
But I mean, but in all reality, it was just to keep the military-industrial complex going.
Yeah.
And to keep their stocks and options going.
That's the same thing with the FBI. I've kind of learned is that this is why they make threats, like make up threats. They create their own threats, is because they want to keep their funding and they want to keep their other money options going. And that's what Glenn Greenwald was talking about a while ago, that I finally was able to connect the dots and understand, like, why are they doing all these things that are false flags? Why are they creating terrorists that wouldn't be terrorists? Why is that? It's because they want to create a threat. They want to create an enemy. They want to create fear, because then that justifies them having all the money and resources they have. If they don't have that threat, well, why should we fund you, FBI, so much money if there's no problems? It's pretty messed up.
Peaceful countries don't need a whole lot of government funds.
Right, dude. It's so true. I mean, it's something that took me a long time to understand, but that's one of the beauties of Trump, is we were able to get the mask off and see this shit for what it is. It's scary. It's really scary, because I'm not trying to sound black-pilled, but you get to a point where, like, yeah, there's a lot of corrupt countries out there, but shit, holy shit.
I'm truly, look, you talk about black-pilled, I'm probably there. I'm like, I mean, I don't know, because I'm looking real hard. I'm not sure that there's a more corrupt country than the United States in terms of political corruption, in terms of political corruption. And I mean, like, even, okay, so we could talk about China and all the dirty shit that goes on over there, but even then, you're talking, they have corrupt, like, anti-corruption shit over there, and it, like, even if you're going against if you're doing corrupt shit, even in China, like, they'll execute your ass. Like, they're not playing no fucking games.
Well, they execute you if they don't like you, if you're on the wrong side of things. But we do that too.
But it's like, it's with here, it's like, well, okay, somebody's doing some dirty shit, so now you're having to ask yourself, well, oh, did they donate to any of these politicians? Oh, did they donate to any of the judges, or there's always these questions that you now have to ask yourself. It's like, oh, this dude's probably going to get away with this shit scot-free. And it's like, because there's a corruption element that, I don't know, it's just, it's very disheartening.
But I don't know if it's necessarily that much better in other countries.
Well, how I would put it, because I still disagree with you, Phil, but I will say that I think how I look at it is, there are other countries that are more corrupt, but I think we're more corrupt than we want to think.
But here's the thing: that whether it is or whether it isn't, I'm not really saying so much that that we are the most corrupt country in the world, but I'm saying we damn well could be.
Okay.
It's an absolute fucking possibility, and the more I see, the more I'm starting to lean toward maybe we are the most corrupt country in the world. Like, I mean,
well, I think our problem is a lot of our population thinks that we can not necessarily do no wrong, but we're America. We wouldn't do X. We wouldn't do Y. We're good.
So yeah, there's a couple ways to look at that. Yeah, there's that too, and then there's also the initial idea. Okay, so the initial American idea is that we were the least corrupt country because we have universal checks and balances as far as the Constitution goes.
Right.
Like, when you look at the Constitution, it gives the government, like the executive, judicial, and legislative, checks and balances so that there is no totalitarian power, right? Which that's what made this country as great as it is. But the reality is that really doesn't exist anymore. Like, there's a whole lot of corrupt pieces that are really playing into the political sphere, and then it's like, well, who's really running shit here? Is it the people? No, not really. It's the donor class and the establishment,
right?
Which is the definition of authoritarianism, right? So it's like, well, what are we? And there's no enforcing of anything significant, like no wrongdoing. Like, I don't know. Like, there's no punishment. Nobody's really getting punished for any of the shady shit that's being done. And I don't know. Like I wouldn't think that just that Joe Biden would have even been allowed to run for president after all the bullshit that's gone on. But here he is, right? He's here, and he just has like I just there's a lot that I think about that's like, man, you know what? We might very well be corrupt.
Well, the
Like,
fact that
super
we had an
corrupt.
election stolen is what I think broke a lot of people and made them realize things were worse than we thought. And we already thought they were bad. And that's where I'm saying that I kind of align, is that I'm in a position where I think
The
that it's way
Trump,
worse than we thought. And we already thought it was
Trump
pretty
was
bad.
tweeting.
The fact that Trump could even get elected in the first place shows
There's
that,
hope.
you know, that things, it wasn't completely corrupt. Like there's places where, you know, like countries where, you know, they have all
Well,
this stuff preordained years in advance.
Well, in
You know?
England, for example, since they have a monarchy, Trump would never get elected. Ever. Because the people don't vote for the prime minister. The party selects a
think-
person.
well, I think
Well, they had Boris
Trump,
Johnson. He kind of
Yeah, look how
Trump
that's
won.
gone.
Well, let's be look. Trump won not just because he was popular, but like he played the system extremely well too. Like his campaign was intelligently done. It was like when you look at when you look at everything that was against him, he played his hand incredibly well, which will probably never happen again. Like the establishment is going to make damn sure that nobody like Trump succeeds again. Well, maybe Trump has another ace up his sleeve, but but yeah, now that I mean it's out there, like, and just remember, Trump was mentioning voter fraud back in like 2012, right?
Yeah.
He was mentioning that shit back in 2012, and now that 2020 has happened, it's more like, I told you so.
Well,
I told you it was going on. Here it is.
Well, remember in 2016 after he won, and they kept saying, "Oh, you didn't win the popular vote," and he would say, "I would have if we had thrown out all the illegal votes." And people at the time, even on the right, were like, "That's ridiculous. There's no way it was that many."
You know what? You know why? Because I'm telling you, the establishment that does the same shit. Like the Republicans do the same shit too. You look. I got calls. Gotta call balls and strikes, dude. Look, yeah. Odds are, there probably is a Dominion voting systems, and it probably is shady, and it probably everything that Sidney Powell says probably most of it's probably accurate, but remember the golden rule. Remember my golden rule of politics. If one side's doing shady shit, the other side, bet your ass, the other side's doing it too.
Right.
And you remember, look, ES&S, right? The ES&S systems, they have pretty much the same capabilities. They have the same voting system capabilities. They have the same, but most of them are in like Republican strongholds, right? And so I in my heart of hearts, I believe that both sides are running a corrupt show, but it's just different players.
Right. Well,
It's just
another
different
angle to
players.
it too, and it's kind of is a tangent, but it kind of relates to what we're talking about. Is sometimes even when good things appear or look like they're happening, it will be because of bad intentions. For example, of Chris Cuomo resigning. In many ways, we all, especially on our side, go, "That's a good thing."
Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, Andrew Cuomo.
yeah.
Yeah, Cuomo resigning was like, "Oh, this is actually good." Got rid of that asshole, and he probably did do some dirty things to women. Like, let's be real, he probably did. I don't know what specifically, but he probably did something. But why is it that his own party, who were a few months ago crying and calling from the run for president because he was so wonderful and amazing, and they gave him an Emmy. They gave him a freaking Emmy for his performance at these press conferences. So you gotta step back and go, okay, there's something else going on here. And I think there are three possibilities, and multiple of them could be happening at the same time. Number one is the radicals want the old dogs out and they want to replace them. I think that's highly possible. Number two is maybe the nursing home scandal was building up pretty bad and they were trying to get rid of him with a bad story to kind of get rid of this other bad story. I think at the time that is possibly true because that stuff was heating up right when this stuff came out. So that's possible too. And another possibility, and this is something I learned through Tucker, which was very eye-opening, and I think it's time will tell. Time will tell if this is true. There is a pattern in New York City of the Attorney General taking out the governor, and then the Attorney General running for governor. You want to know who did this? Andrew Cuomo and many others. So, and who looked into his sexual assault scandal? The Attorney General. So if we see her run for governor, that will tell you that history is repeating itself, and that was what's really behind all this. And there were probably other people with other intentions that got along with her and went along for the ride, but that may actually be, when he said that, that clicked with me and my gut said, I think that's what's really going on. I think that's what it's about. And she may be a radical. And that's where, the mixture comes into is I think she may be one of the radicals who just happen to be Attorney General, and that's why we're seeing this.
Well, she is a bit of a radical because like this is the same one that tried to go after Alex Jones for the supplements and stuff.
Yeah, and she went after the NRA too.
Yep. So, I think that the nursing home thing, you're not going to be able. The Democrats weren't going to be able to do that, to attack him for that because
they're all in on it.
You would have to attack, because you'd also have to attack New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, because they were all doing it. Like most of the states were all doing it, so you really couldn't. Like it would be hypocrisy if they attacked him for that, and then
so they found this other whole story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but also another thing to think I always felt like another thing to think about was he went. So Andrew, when all the protesting was happening with the
BLM,
like BLM, Antifa, whatever, up in New York, Andrew was pushing back against them tearing down statues of Christopher Columbus because
not very progressive, Chris.
Well, no, but because Christopher Columbus is Italian, right? So
Oh no.
And they're very and Cuomo is very passionate about their Italian culture. So they definitely got pushback from that. I was seeing in the media they were definitely getting pushback for that a little bit, and I mean.
Well, speaking of that, though, did you see his, dare I call it, lack of apology video?
Yeah.
Did you see his rationale for why he did what he did? He goes, he literally said, and Fox News actually had a funny headline on Wars World for it.
Yeah.
He goes, I treat women with respect, but I'm Italian. I get a little touchy.
Oh my god!
I was like, cringe.
Yeah. And look, and to be fair, they
do get touchy, but
yes. So no.
There's
so
a difference between a good touch and a bad touch.
Exactly.
Correct. So when I looked at the accusations, I had to comb them. I had to comb them a little bit. Because, I did try to give him a little bit of leeway in some of the simple stuff. Like if you're kissing him on the cheek, kissing him on the forehead, kissing him on the hand, or if you're hugging or whatever, or you're like, you're hugging or, there other stuff like that. I tend to give him a little leeway on that just because that is part of the Italian culture. They're very,
they kiss on the cheek.
They're very affectionate people.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. But as soon as I saw complaints of like grabbing titties and trying to grab
Yeah,
the JJ, I'm like, all right, yeah,
that's not Italian.
yeah, that's a little over the line there.
I know.
Um,
And I think some of these allegations might have. I think what happened too is to make it look worse, they lumped in some maybe innocuous ones with some actual bad ones to make it look worse than it might have been. I'm not saying that's definitely the case. I really
Like,
don't know.
they
But
did
you.
like the Big Short with it, with the fucking with those with the mortgages, just lumped in the
Yes.
bad ones with the good ones.
yeah.
Yeah, they might have. I mean, it's just a weird one too because, like Phil was saying, you comb through them and some of them are like, really that's what happened. Some of them you're like, oh shit, that's what happened, and
Yeah.
it's really a weird mixed bag. But he and Tucker was saying too, like he's known Cuomo. He's like, yeah, he's a really weird dude, but it was so funny because Fox had the headline on their screen that said Cuomo, colon. I'm sorry. What was this? Like I'm just Italian or something like that. It was really funny. I'll find it in a second. I know I'm kind of slipping on the moment there, but it was just funny. Just his video was so bad. It was so
Hmm.
unoptical, so poorly done. No thought into it. Even what's it called? The left was going after him for because it was so bad. I think it was like, I'm not a rapist, I'm just Italian, was what their headline said. But it's just really bad for him. And like, it's gonna be interesting to see how the New York governorship goes next, because I think that's gonna be very telling of what really went down. But it's pretty bad. Like, it's totally just, he went out. I mean, it's, again, what's something interesting I've talked to my dad about was how
And
things
and
have
you know
flipped.
what? There was another opinion that I saw that could make a little sense too. Like, look,
Mm,
Andrew Cuomo may have stepped back. He may have resigned. He may have stepped back, and then he might just reappear. He might just reappear
mm.
down in a couple months, maybe whatever, after this whole thing blows over, and then just be like, ah.
It was
And then he
nothing.
may win again. He may win again. Who knows?
We
Mm,
don't know.
I don't think
I,
so.
I
I
think
mean,
he's done. I think it's
I,
on
I
politics at least.
look.
Well, and
I
here's the
can
other
never. I
thing.
can't discount shit, unfortunately, because it
That's
is New
valid.
York. Because it is New York, and it is corrupt as shit. So
Yeah.
I can't rule out anything.
Well, did,
But
did,
I
did
mean, hypothetically speaking, from a logical perspective, I would agree with both of you, right? From a logical perspective, yes, that should be it, right? If something like this happened, that should be the end of your fucking political career. Unfortunately, we're talking about the Cuomo's and we're talking about the state of New York. So
mm,
I can't I can't rule anything out.
no, that's
Just
fair.
can't.
That's completely fair. And another interesting hypothesis, and I think he's got some insider sources because I know he does, but I don't know if on this specifically. Posobiec was saying because Cuomo was being ginned up to run for president, the Democrats like adored him and wanted to hug him. Not
Hmm.
anymore. They wanted to just like embrace him full on because he felt like their version of Trump. There's a theory too that Kamala Harris was working to get rid of him so that she could run for president pretty much unopposed, because she would have
Hmm.
been his greatest threat, and we know she wants to run for president. Whether we think she can win or not, it's a whole can of worms we can go down. I don't think she has a good chance because she's arguably worse than Hillary.
Hmm.
But regardless of that, her intention is still to run for president, and he was a threat. He was her biggest threat. So she might have been behind all of it. But still, that AG angle too, to me, is more telling.
Hmm.
And again, they could have had mutual interest. That's the other thing. AG wanted the governorship. Kamala wanted the field cleared for her. So they could have worked together on it, because there's always multiple variables, multiple people with multiple interests that want the same or similar outcome. So the other race too I want to talk about quickly, I haven't followed it much, but it's getting a little more interesting, is the California recall. Because Larry Elder, who stepped into the race late, has become the quick favorite to replace Newsom. What people need to know, though, about recalls is they don't work like you kind of intuitively think, which is, oh, they get rid of Gavin Newsom and then they do a new election. That's not how it works. They vote where they vote to get rid of Gavin Newsom, and then there's a following question on the ballot of who do you want to replace him. And the theory that some have that are optimistic about Larry Elder is that because the state's mostly leftist and they're not going to have another leftist option or another Democrat, they're just going to not answer the question. They're going to leave it blank. But Republicans in the state will vote for Larry Elder, and because there's so low submissions on the Democrat side for that question, that Larry Elder will win. I don't know if I fully will be comfortable saying that, especially after something that happened recently, but that's the theory. What throws a wrench into that for me is Larry Elder was recently asked about the 2020 election, and he basically said there was some funny business that needs to be looked into, but it wasn't stolen. I don't think that's going to go over well with some people.
I think that's he's running in California. I think that is what he has to say if he wants to get that position.
I know that's what he's thinking, and I understand why he's thinking that, but I don't really think that helps him. Because the people that don't believe the election was stolen probably weren't going to vote for him. But the people that do were likely to vote for him. And I think he only pisses off likely voters. That's my guess, but I don't know.
I think it was a long shot for him to actually win anyways, to be fair. I think it would have been difficult, especially in how left California has gotten in. Like he's a right-wing pop radio host. Like, come on. I used to listen to him all the time. He's good luck in California.
There's a lesson to be learned here too, right? Okay. So do any of you know what the 80-20 rule is?
Yes, Warren Buffett's 80-20 rule.
80-20, right? So, like, and this happens with relationships and all that shit, right? So, if you've got a good thing going, and 80% of your situation is correct, don't chase after that other 20%, because you're probably gonna risk losing a bit of that other 80% that you have. So don't do it. And I think Larry Elder is trying to do that with the 80% rule. Like, yeah. So like he's thinking that he's gonna, like, if he's going like you're saying, Sean, I mean, he's definitely going to need votes, but I don't think that's the way you do it, right? That's not the way you go about doing it, because you risk the 80% of the people that are going to vote for you, right? Like you're wasting resources trying to go after that 20% that probably aren't going to vote for you anyway. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, it's a tough one, because, and not only that, now you got to answer it. Like, now you got to go back to these people, because he works for fucking because he works for what the fuck is it? The Epic Times. Like, how the fuck are you gonna say that shit and then go back to working for the Epic Times? They've been saying that this shit. There's been some bullshit with the election, right? They believe that there's a lot of these guys believe that there was some shady shit going on, and that the election was probably stolen. Like, it's hard. Like you're not just chasing after the 20%. You're like kind of burning bridges.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, what the fuck are you doing?
That's what my reaction was like, what are you doing? And I understand your angle to it, Alex, because I do think that's what he was thinking. Because he knows what went down. He's not stupid. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
And I do agree with him almost all the time. So it's one of those situations where because I like having people that I disagree with some things on. Like, there's some people I adore that I disagree with on quite a number of things. But
Yeah.
you understand where they're coming from and it makes sense. With him, I do, but it still contradicts everything else.
Yeah.
Too
I
much.
think, I think with Larry too, like the whole, like California as a whole, like even the Republicans there, they seem like they're pretty much like at least in a lot of the major cities, like they're like probably more CR types. You know, it's not like over here where you actually have like strong Republicans. Like a lot of these people
Right.
were saying Country Club Republicans, and a lot of them probably didn't even like Trump either. You know, they're the cuck Republicans. It's the whole state of that, like the Republicans, cuck Republicans, and like super hard liberals.
But they would
And
bring some pretty, if I'm thinking correct, like Berkeley's in California, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they would
Mhm.
bring Milo and
that's a
Coulter.
college. That's a
Yeah,
college that not all of them are from Penn State. You know, there's a lot of people from Pennsylvania, but
that's
there's
true.
also a lot of people who
Yep.
aren't.
Yeah, that's a
You
good
know,
point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
that's a good point. But I think, like, obviously, Larry Elder, he's one of the most intelligent people, I think, from a philosophical perspective, I think we've ever known. At least I've known. I think he's philosophically, I think he's fucking brilliant. But like, uh, it's a very like, what he's doing is a very impulsive decision. It's a very
I don't know.
impulsive decision.
I don't know if it's important.
It's a
I
very
think
easy.
it is a calculated political maneuver where he can say, "Oh yes," but also no. You know, yes, something happened, but no, he didn't
feel
steal
like-
the election.
I don't know, because I feel like when you feel the heat, when you're feeling the heat, when you're feeling the pressure, you tend to start making impulsive moves, and like, especially when you're not a politician. Like, you're not. Larry Elder really is not a politician. Like, not in you know, not naturally anyway. So like, yeah, when you feel pressure like that for the first time, hey, it can get overwhelming. It can
Yeah.
get pretty bad. Like, and the temptation to make some erratic decisions, it's there. It's there. And you're in California. Look, you're in California. You know it is a holy fuck uphill climb. Like, because of the, because of the, not only just the fact that it's such a heavy liberal state, but it's like you're working with a Senate that's a super majority Democrat, so it's like, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of temptation. There's a lot of, towing that you might feel like you have to do, and yeah, I think Larry Elder's feeling it right now.
Well, I think too is. Oh, actually, let me wind the clocks back. Did Schwarzenegger win on a recall? I've heard that's what happened.
I don't know that one.
He's not even really Republican.
That was going to be
No.
my point, is that
Yeah.
he's somebody that you think, oh, cool, it's this big alpha male, he must be a strong Republican. And then he's like the biggest Trump hater. Which might be more a personal thing, because he's competed with Trump, pretty much. Took
Well,
over The Apprentice and
not-
it failed.
Well, he has to toe the look, and I've said this a couple of times on my Twitter page.
Yeah, I saw that. He's trying to show.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's had, obviously, like, if you look back at some of his films, they needed Chinese money to produce, right? They almost like I think 5 of his last 7 films had like a some sort of Chinese production company or wing tied to it. Like, he knows where his bread is buttered, right? And he still has, even to this day, he still has Hollywood interests, right? So he's going to have to toe the line if he's looking to keep those Chinese interests, or not Chinese interests. He's trying to keep those Hollywood interests intact. He's going to have to toe that Chinese line because it gets pretty brutal when you don't have that Chinese market, like for Hollywood anyway. So that's pretty much what he's doing. He's pretty much trying to, you know, to keep China's balls cupped, you know, trying to make sure that, you know, he doesn't piss off the Chinese.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
can
look
see
at
that.
look at John Cena, right?
Oh man.
Look how hard he's sitting for the fucking Chinese.
He was the
You know, like,
worst, honestly.
Yeah, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, these films, like, I think the Chinese market only allows for there's like 30 some movies a year or some shit like that. I was reading a book. It's actually a pretty good book actually. The Feeding the Dragon.
I think I've heard that actually.
Yeah.
Who's it by?
Actually, the author just he responded to one of my tweets too.
Yo.
Yeah, Chris Fenton. So he actually worked in. Thing is, he actually worked in Hollywood, and he actually worked in. He was the guy that like. Originally, he didn't see it as a problem. Like he was on the. I think he was on the production team for the movie Looper with Joshua Gordon-Levitt or whatever.
Yeah.
And originally he was his character was supposed to go to France, and in the end, he went to China.
Oh.
Right. So originally he was like, "Oh, this isn't too." I didn't think it was that big of a deal because we're opening up to the Chinese markets and like, yeah. And then what changed his mind, and I was watching an interview with him too, was the Daryl Morey tweet where Daryl Morey tweeted "Free Hong Kong," the general manager for the Houston Rockets, and the entire NBA just fucking went gangbusters on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
You had LeBron James was like, "Oh, he's misinformed." Yeah, try that one. Try that one again. And I mean, it's so that's what kind of changed him, and he ended up writing this book about it, and like, I mean, it's bad. Like you had like, you know, the Top Gun sequel. It had, you know, they took the Taiwan flag off of one of the patches, and you know, and like there's a lot of stuff that's like, you know, it's that bends to the will. A lot of these movies and production companies that bend the knee to China, and you know, and this is another thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's doing the same thing. He's really just bending the knee to China.
I will always bring up these two examples how cucked we are to China with movies. With Star Wars, on the movie posters, they made the black guy smaller.
Yep.
So the Chinese would hopefully not notice him and not come to the movie because they saw a black person as a main role.
Yeah.
And then the Mulan sequel was literally filmed where the Uyghur Muslim camps were. They used one of the concentration camps as a fucking filming location. I'm not making it up. Like, you can look it up. It's in mainstream news. The Guardian covered it. I first found it through the Quartering, but the Guardian covered this. It is real. It's insane. But people are fine with it because, ooh, it's a nice movie with explosions and violence and fun. Oh my god. Just eat that shit up. It doesn't affect me. It's crazy. And it's funny because I'm playing a game right now that this couldn't be made now. Battlefield 4 has the Americans against the Chinese. Like that's who the bad guys are, the Chinese. I'm like, dude, how did they get through with this thing in like, what was it, 5-6 years ago it came out, Alex?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean,
I'm shocked they were able to make the Chinese the bad guys in this. Like, I'm shocked. Couldn't do
I
that
guess
now.
that was probably before Tencent bought, their rights to that franchise.
They did?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, if they want to have any operations in China, like Tencent has to own a certain percentage of the company, I believe.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Tencent's
sure
got a skin in EA.
I mean, I've no doubt seeing how big EA is. But
Right.
like, 'cause I remember Homefront, that whole game series. Like, I mean, that pissed me off because like you could tell they were meaning China, they replaced China with North Korea, and it didn't make any sense. It was like North Korea invades America. I was like, what? And then I thought I was like, oh, I see what you guys did here. Like everyone knows this is China because North Korea, they send one of their little fucking like spirit frickin'
Animals.
dollar store fireworks over here. We'd shoot that shit down. They send their little fucking boats over here. And we just throw a little bit of water on it. Their subs would probably sink before they even got across the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, they talk about how, like, oh, the North Koreans are stealing all of our intellectual property, and they have the SARS outbreak, too. Oh my god.
Yeah, like that game. It was a good story mode. I mean, someone should make a mod for it that replaces. I guess
Yes.
it'd be a really, really, really time-consuming mod for a game that's not even really that highly well regarded. But it would be cool if someone just did a complete mod of that game, just replace every instance of North Korea with China. Call it
Yes.
the Uncensored Edition or something.
Yeah, and I bring up the
I,
video game example because, not just because I'm playing it, but it just shows how they have infiltrated, controlled, and cucked every single entertainment market. I don't know so much about music though. I'm not privy to how they've done it to the music industry, but I bet they've has whole. I know K-pop, which is Korean, is here and is supposedly big, but that's the closest thing I can think of. I know it's completely different, but I bet the Chinese have got their balls deep into our music somehow. I just don't know enough about to say, but it's whoa, this guy just drove in. It's bad. But on a brighter note, though, to give people some hope, is a phenomenon that we're seeing in the States that is only building and only getting better. Is in these school board meetings, you're seeing a Tea Party style, but like 10 times bigger, revolt against these schools, public schools. And it started over critical race theory. These parents were at home during COVID, seeing their kids literally being told to hate white people, and were like, this is bullshit, and would go into school board meetings and start rising up. But now they're rising up because of something even bigger, something that affects their kids even more, damages their health, and is really getting parents pissed off. Masks. There are schools in America, they're mandating children come into the fall, start the school year with masks on. They have no ifs, ands, or buts. They get like 1 5-minute break or 2 5-minute breaks in a day, but they're mandated to wear masks during the entire 8-hour school day and pretty much breathe in CO2, carbon dioxide through the entire school day. Which, as this doctor that Phil and I were watching, we get into this later, this doctor that was at one of those school board meetings went viral because he had such an amazing explanation of what COVID is and what they were doing is such bullshit. And one of the things he brings up in following videos is how not only do masks limit your oxygen intake, which is obviously an obvious thing to notice, but what does that do? It not only damages your brain, damages your cognitive abilities, but it damages your learning abilities by just the visuals of it, because you're not, as a young kid, you're trying to learn how people communicate, and you're learning through our various ways of communicating, which is not just your voice, it's also your facial expressions, your demeanor, and when you have a mask on, you can't see any of that, so you're not picking up on those social cues, you're not picking up on any of that stuff, and it's detrimental to kids. And that's why parents are rising up.
I wonder if we're gonna be. I wonder if we're able to actually put the link up, like on the on the description or on the whatever,
Yeah,
or
you're
even
right.
on the Twitter. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
imagine we're going to be able to, but like the video, I watched the video and it was like
It's mind blowing.
it's exactly what I needed to hear, because I
Yeah.
always believed it. I mean, we always believed what he was what the basic idea of what he's saying, but to hear it in medical terminology, like how he put it, was so needed. Like it was so needed, because like people like this whole world right now, we're living in a propaganda world right now where it's like vaccines and masks, and it's like,
And if you ask any
and we knew,
questions, you get banned on YouTube and
yeah,
called an
yeah,
anti-vaxxer.
and so to hear that was like a breath of fresh air, really, no pun intended. And I mean, yeah, the more people that can see that video, the better.
Right.
Because like, I fully, it was so clear. It was so detailed as to as to why it was bad. This is bad. This is why it's bad. And there were a couple other videos too that I still haven't looked at. There's one video I still need to look at too, but like even there was one video where he talks about how the numbers are calculated.
Yeah, I was just
And
telling Alex about that.
we were talking about that shit weeks ago, and it was like we knew it, like we hypothetically, like we knew it.
We knew the numbers were high, but we didn't necessarily know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we knew that there was some fudging going on.
Yeah, that's
but
what I
like,
meant to say. Yeah, they were higher
but
than
we
they should have
didn't
been.
know specifically like what kind of incentive there was. Like we knew there was a financial incentive. We just
Right.
didn't know how much of it there was. And we know it's like in the thousands, like, and per person. That's like oh my god.
That's something for medical companies, though. Like for a lot of this medical stuff, like I think of all the industries in the United States, like medical is right up there with probably like government contractors for military shit in terms of overbilling and corrupt practices.
Yeah.
Yeah, to call it big pharma is an understatement. Well, and what this guy was talking about too with the cases, I can give a brief sort of rundown of what he said, which is let's start off with this, well, because there's multiple points, I'll start with one off the bat, which is something we were kind of hearing about, but he confirms to be true in a more detailed way, which is normally when somebody dies from a disease, there are 3 qualifications that need to be met. They need to show symptoms, they need to have a certain amount of it in them, and there's some third thing. I forget because you have to watch this to see, and we'll link it below. And the FDA changed the qualifications for COVID. Never done to any disease before, at least on recent memory, but they changed it, and they basically made it way more easier for a COVID death to be called a COVID death. And one of the things that basically came out of it was that let's say you got into a car crash and you had COVID in your system. They could technically, and would, this has happened, rule that as a COVID death because you just had it in your system. Normally you have to meet these qualifications, which basically conclude that COVID was your cause of death, your main cause of death. If you didn't have COVID, you wouldn't have died. And it was the main thing that caused it. And there's a little more specificity to it, but that's the best way I can put it. But what they were changing it to was you just had to have it in your system. And it could have contributed. It may not have been the biggest contributor, may have pushed you over the line, but it really wasn't what killed you. And so that's why he was saying that these COVID death numbers are way higher than they should be. That's one part of it, and there's other parts of it. That's the main one that I remember and I can explain the best. But that was his main point of it. But the other, to do a quick tangent too, is the case numbers. Those I mean, those numbers are probably so bullshit. It's insane. Because number one, the tests are extremely inaccurate. Lots of false positives and also lots of false negatives.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, because influenza and COVID have very similar symptoms, the doctors had to make a choice. Do we test them for influenza or COVID or both? And they always go with COVID because the tests are cheaper, and I think they get more money too if they do more COVID tests and have more COVID cases. And if they put them on ventilators and in the beds, they get even more money too. So they'll just throw people on the beds and on ventilators, even if they really don't need it, and even if they don't really showing symptoms either. But if they test positive, which could happen, could not happen, you really don't know because it's so inaccurate in terms of whether those results mean anything, and they would just go along with it. And on top of that, there's so much to this, but even on top of that, the people that are symptomatic are the clear ones that do have COVID, if it's not influenza and let's say the tests are accurate. But the asymptomatic ones are the really tricky ones because you could test positive for COVID, be asymptomatic, and that could be well and good. But if you get the vaccine, which they're telling all these people they're healthy to get, you could come up with positive COVID tests because it's in your system because of the vaccine. And it may be positive because you had the vaccine, but it also may be positive because you had COVID, because you could have gotten it before you wouldn't have known it, because many healthy people can get COVID and not know it because they won't show any symptoms. And that, to conclude this, that was the main thing that blew my mind, that explained a lot of things from what he was saying that didn't make sense before, is why are healthy people getting COVID and why are these unhealthy people dying from it? And he essentially boiled it down to the immune system, which is if you have a strong immune system, because you hear some of these stories of people that were around people with COVID and not get it, but some who seem healthy would. And what he was saying is that something that kind of applies to some stories I've heard, which is you may be healthy, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have a strong immune system. If you have a strong immune system, COVID might just flush out your system. You will probably not even know you had it. You won't really get infected with it. But if you have a weak immune system, and you could be a young, skinny person who have a weak immune system, you could fucking die from COVID. But when you're old, you're fat, you have pre-existing conditions, you're far more likely and almost guaranteed to have a weak immune system. And that's why we're seeing all the deaths and all the hospitalizations with those people, in addition to people who seem healthy. They're healthy, but they have a weak immune system. So that's the best I can give on it, but it's fascinating. You have to watch it. And Phil, you love the thing about the mask too.
Say that again?
Nice.
Well, Phil was loved his explanation on the masks.
Oh yeah, I loved it. Jeez, I part of me doesn't even wants to watch what I say, because this YouTube is cracking down hard on this disinformation campaign.
Yeah, you notice that's their new favorite
completely
term.
Made up, huh?
You notice how it's not fake news anymore? It's disinformation.
Yeah, yep. It's not even That's their cheap word. But yeah, because it was the way that they explained it. It's and I don't want to and I also don't want to put words into that doctor's mouth.
Right.
Because how he said it was very very accurate. But most of masks really, basically, in a nutshell, you're saying masks don't work because, or the social distancing doesn't really work either because there's there's big particles and then there's small particles. The masks only really block out the big particles, right? The small particles are going to get in no matter what because they're in the air. The big particles, for social distancing, beyond 6 feet, they'll kind of sink and whatever. But the small particles, they're just in the air, and that's it. right?
Yep.
So there's really no way to like that. There's no way to really, unless you're outside or unless you're like, obviously indoors, like you're kind of like if you're indoors with somebody that has it, like, I mean, that obviously increases your chances, but you're like, I mean, like a mask isn't going to save you. It's not even really going to diminish the possibility of you getting it. It's like social distancing if you're inside with somebody. It doesn't really like it doesn't really, mitigate the risk of you catching it. Like it's it's one of those things that they kept telling, and you say like Fauci knows this. He
Yeah.
knows this,
His
and
email
he's
said it.
active. Yeah, he knows this, and he's pushing. He's pushing, continuing to push the other bullshit. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably getting kicked off of YouTube for this.
We're getting kicked off by telling the
Yeah,
truth. But
whatever. Fuck it,
yeah,
there's Rumble. There's Rumble.
yeah. Which is where these were on, by the way. And it's the
Yeah.
only place I've been able to find them.
Get to see that boomer alarm on Rumble.
Oh, speaking of boomer alarm, my megaphone came in.
There you go.
Oh, it's so much fun. I don't even if this whole thing I'm about to do at Penn State's a bust or not, just having a megaphone is so much fucking fun, dude. It is a pleasure. It's like that one we had at the Trump Club. Remember our pal had one for a little bit?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, I remember that.
Yeah. It's as fun as it looks. But the other thing with the mask too, like Phil was saying, was he specifically talked about each type of mask too, and actually kind of most of it I thought before and I said on this show before, but there was one that kind of made me go, oh shit, which is, and what I've known before, which is that these cloth and surgical masks don't do shit. Specifically, seeing out of the cloth ones is doing absolutely nothing, and that's what I felt because it's cloth. I mean, it clearly has holes in it. You just have to hold up to the light, and you can see all the holes in it. So the cloth ones protect.
Any mask has holes in it, or else you won't be able to breathe with it, and you need an external, like a source of air.
Right, and he said too, to tie into that. So cloth masks don't block anything. Surgical blocks the big particles. But N95s, which is the ones I said are the only ones that work, is like, well, they kind of work three times out of 4. They block the big particles. They block the small particles. But you can block the small particles from coming in, but you can't block them from coming out. So you probably won't get COVID when you wear one, but you can spread it. And that's kind of where I went, oh, that didn't think of it that way before, but that makes
sense. That's the opposite of what everyone was saying too.
Yeah.
They all said to protect you. I wear my mask. I wear my mask to protect you. You wear your mask to protect me. Well, that's a fucking lie. Apparently, allegedly,
yeah. This is all alleged. But you know what's interesting when you say that is, and what Phil was saying too is interesting, because remember when this initially started, the initial thing we were hearing, Fauci said on 60 Minutes, masks basically don't work. You shouldn't buy a mask. It only really stops you from spreading it to other people. Only people who have COVID should wear a mask. That's what they used to say. Now they don't. I mean, he says a different thing every day, and the excuse is always, well, we've learned more things. We have more data. Dude, you've been on this job for how many years? We've had infectious diseases for how many years? Why is it all changing with COVID all the time? I get it. We might learn that the virus is better or worse than we thought.
And that was another thing. Because in the video, they actually did. They actually. The doctor said they actually did a couple studies.
Yeah.
Where before with influenza, they did influenza studies that that grouped people up with influenza, with non-influenza, or had symptoms or something like that, and the masks masks and whatever, they didn't work then either. Like social distancing and masks didn't work in those studies either. So like, there's nothing that like he basically debunks everything.
Everything.
Like everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the reason I started searching out for these is because when I saw that video of him in the school board, it was the first time I felt like I was hearing somebody credible. It was just my gut telling me that this guy sounds credible. And I haven't heard this from anybody else. I haven't felt this from anybody else. And so I started digging into him, and I found a site that had all the data he gave on that flash drive that he said he gave the school board, and it had those lectures he did. And I just started listening last night. I fell asleep because I was really tired, so I didn't get through all of them. But I was just sitting there like my mind was being blown. Like, everybody needs to see this. Everybody needs to stop what they're doing and watch these, because this is what I've been waiting for. Somebody to concisely and definitively explain this virus, because nobody's done that. It's always changing. It never makes any sense, and we're all confused. And even as somebody who has come to the conclusion of I'm never wearing a mask again, this is all bullshit, I was still confused. He's the only person I walked away from not confused. It's amazing. I must share with everybody I know because it is amazing. You have to see it.
And it's getting to a point now where we're getting lied to from both sides of the political aisle.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, people are so tired of it right now, and I think there's gonna be more breaking points because the corruption, as we've been talking about, is much deeper. But with the mask and COVID specifically, we're at a breaking point, and I was hoping it would happen here, because when I heard the CDC say that vaccinated people have to mask up again, I went, this is the breaking point. This is where people, if it's gonna happen, this is where they're gonna rise up, because we were told you could throw away the mask once you got the vaccine, and now it sounds like there's some bullshit going on, and definitive bullshit. And it's because they lied about the vaccine. They lied about the nature of vaccines and how they work, and this doctor explains it, where vaccines just stop the symptoms and they stop you from dying. That's really all they can do. You can still get the whatever it is, and you can still spread it. It may not spread as badly, but you can still get it and you can still spread it. So we weren't told that. We were told something completely different, this fantasy, to make us quickly take it and to feel good. And it ends up backfiring. But these parents, I gotta say, it's amazing seeing them rise up. Even Matt Walsh and what's the guy from Outkick, Clay Travis, showed up to their school boards to lay down the data and give them some hell, and it was amazing.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. Like, I was on like Reddit, and I was looking at those, like the r/teachers or whatever, and they're getting all pissed. They're getting really triggered over there.
They are, dude. Holy shit! I got into Did you see the Facebook argument I got into with that one advisor from Penn State?
Yeah, I think called some, a boomer or something like that.
No, she was so stupid, because she is me, being super selfish, saying, oh, well, I'm immunocompromised and I have to come back in person, actually work. And I'm going to be around all these kids, so we need the mask mandate. And in fact, we need the vaccine mandate. I'm like, bitch, are you vaccinated? Yeah, but yeah, she comes up with some bullshit like, I'm immunocompromised. I'm like, you're vaccinated.
What if you're one of those bubble people with like skids or whatever, where you physically have to go and go in a bubble all the time? Should everyone have to go and wear masks because you have to live in a bubble because you're immunocompromised?
Yeah, she kept thinking about herself, and I said, listen, lady, you can, okay, you have to come in the, she's like, well, they're forcing me to come into work, because I first told her to work remotely. I'm like, okay, wear a mask. You think they work? Wear them. You'll be fine, right? Wear one. And so she kind of, dances around that. And the best part is when some other lady chimed in that was immunocompromised, and she's like, listen, bitch, I'm immunocompromised. You can get the vaccine, mask up, you'll be fine. I will not force people to vaccine. I will not force people to mask up, because we're damaging the mental health of many young, healthy people. And that's why I said, listen, lady, you have your issues. You protect yourself, but don't damage the rest of us. Don't hurt the rest of us who are suffering and have suffered for long enough. I mean, it's honestly just disgustingly selfish, and to a point where I could argue some of these people are downright evil with how hard they're forcing things that have been damaging people mentally.
Well, I'm interested too. I think that this is like, we're going to some conspiracy territory over here, but I won't be surprised. This whole code between the lockdowns and the vaccines, this was all some sort of greater government plan. Like, just think about it. Like right now, this whole generation of kids, I think the government was trying to go and force autism onto kids. Because guess what? They're not going to be seeing, human to human interaction. They're not going to be seeing, facial interaction. Most of these people are behind a screen. I have a feeling that in the next like 10, 20 years, you're going to be seeing, autism-like symptoms in a bunch more kids because they were basically stifled, like especially the kids who grew up, who are like right those developmental milestone areas, the perfect time periods where this stuff would really form. They're missing out on that. You're not being able to go and see people's like facial expressions. That's a sign of autism. They can't. They're going to be lacking social cues, lacking all these things. And maybe that was part of the plan. Because they need more tech workers, so they're forcing the autism because these people might be better suited for those jobs.
State-enforced autism.
Yeah, shoot. There's another weird conspiracy theory I had for this, because like between that, and basically all these stupid mask mandates, like I think it's meant to go and hurt people because it's something dumb. You're not able to go and operate efficiently. You're not going to want to go and do exercise. They're going to make people fat too, so they can get more money from healthcare because you couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't go to the gym for the longest time during COVID. In some countries, you still can't. It's very expensive to get a lot of home exercise equipment right now. So
If you can get it.
Some people don't even have the room for it anyways, and they know that people aren't going to run. In a lot of places you can't even go outside, like not in the United States, but other countries like Australia and England. And if you're going outside, you have to go and like wear a mask anyways. And if you're trying working out with a mask, you're not going to get half the stuff done because you can't breathe. Like to go and do exercise, like specifically aerobic exercise, which is really important to live. We were born to be like long distance runners, to do like aerobic exercise. Like humans as a whole, that was one thing that separates us from all these other species. That's why we sweat. We're good at like distance and aerobic exercise, whereas other animals, they'll sprint and then they'll pant. We breathe. We need to be able to breathe, and with these masks, you can't. So I think it was, it's a two-part thing because guess what? This, Brave New World future, they're going to want people to not desire social interaction and basically be sedentary. This is priming us for that future.
Honestly, I could believe anything now because if they know these things don't work, why are they doing them? Is it so that they can get more power and control for future things? Is it so that they can dumb down the population? I don't know, but it's really the only thing I can say is I think there are a lot of evil and twisted motives behind these COVID restrictions from
I wasn't saying it was necessarily dumbing them down. It was changing their intelligence from social intelligence to operating computers, because guess what? Like kids are operating computers now because this whole coronavirus way earlier. So that it's and they're basically working from home too, so it's getting them ready for the potential dystopian future where you're just in your home all day. You don't go and exercise around the computer from sun up to sundown.
Well, that's what gets me is just how dystopian everything is that we're living in. I mean, it's just. At a point, I keep asking myself, like, am I the crazy one? Because everybody else can't be this crazy. But I see, like, this bitch on Facebook who's trying to force everybody to mask up, trying to force everybody to get vaccinated. I'm like, what's your problem? You are vaccinated. You wear a mask. It's in your profile picture. What's your problem? Are you mentally ill? Or am I mentally ill? I mean, I have my issues, but I don't think this is one of them. And it's just troubling because she's just going off. And then you see at this protest, because Penn State, had the people that are on the board of trustees and the president did this town hall a few days ago where they said we're not going to mandate the vaccine. One of the few Big Ten schools to do so. And I was like, okay, cool, nice, did some good for once. But thousands of people signed the petition and thousands of faculty signing the petition because they're all butthurt that they didn't mandate the vaccine. And by the way, these were all people that are already vaccinated. Thousands of people that are vaccinated were butthurt that they didn't mandate the vaccine for some strange reason. Even when a survey comes out showing that 83% of students on main campus said they were fully vaccinated, not partially, fully vaccinated. And this is with a 65% respondent rate. It's not like only 2 people responded. No, 65% main campus students responded, and 83% of them said they were fully vaccinated. It's pretty fucking good. It's way better than the national average, which is like in the 50s. And they still want to mandate vaccines for some strange reason. And they even had a protest where they demanded Barron mandate the vaccine, change his mind, and do the right thing, follow the science. And you had this one lady holding up a sign that said follow the science, and she's like 500 pounds. I'm like, lady, if you're worried about COVID, maybe you should hit the treadmill. Okay? Like, the fuck is wrong with these people? I just don't, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. I'm like, I know some of these people are mentally ill. I know some of these people are just driven by fear. But what the fuck is going on?
I think they're scared and they're stupid.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I mean, and I'm sorry, I don't. We're at the point in 2021 where having a degree at X university does not equal intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at that point now. It's like there's certain degrees that you could maybe guesstimate whether somebody's intelligent or not, but that's not like there's no guarantee you can reach a Penn State grad and think he's intelligent
or be a professor, because these people were faculty members that were protesting. These are the people who teach us.
You know, some of these professors, you know what the old adage is, you know, if you can't do, teach.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because actually I had an engineer colleague of mine, and we were talking. It was at one of the branch campuses, and I was talking about this engineering guy. I was like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I remember him. He was a real dumbass. That's funny. You know, and he's teaching over at, you know, that Penn State branch campus. Like, apparently he really sucked in the real world, so he just went to academia.
Wow.
You know, because that's the truth. Because honestly, in the real world, like, you know, you can make a lot more money, like, especially for an engineer. Like, why would he be an engineering teacher unless you either
you were worth your salt. Like, if you were worth your salt, you wouldn't be teaching. You really wouldn't be teaching. It's like I want to say, what's a good analogy? I gotta think.
I mean, it probably sounds right now pretty bad, but like, honestly, I think we do need better teachers who aren't like super indoctrinated. Like, I would like if we had more, like, you know, smart teachers, but just given the way the world works, it doesn't make sense economically. Like, unless you value teaching above, you know, a decent wage, because the only real benefit of teaching is, like, you know, a lot of schools have tenure, and, you know, you're not actually in a corporate world. Like, they tend to have unions and stuff too, so it's like really hard.
Well, many of those teaching unions have to toe the Democratic line too, because they're they're the ones that are giving them the sweetheart deals, and they're the ones that are, and in turn the teaching unions are the ones that are donating gobs of money to the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates, and so there is that there is that teachers union relationship with the Democratic Party, and
it's scary too, because these people are the ones who are teaching a lot of people's kids. Like, I wish more conservatives would get into teaching. Just I'm sure they.
We knew one.
Well,
I mean, I'm sure they try to.
And that didn't work out. But, you know, the funny thing is that it's almost like you have to be, I don't want to say it this bluntly, but you almost have to be stupid to go into teaching. You know what I mean?
Like, it was funny, like, when I was in high school, like, they're asking people, what do you want to do when you grow up? And, like, a lot of the girls who, like, you know, they're pretty, but they weren't exactly, you know, Rhodes Scholar material. They'd be the ones who go into teaching specifically early childhood education and like, middle school stuff. It wasn't like the really smart ones. They're trying to be like, scientists and, biology majors and like computer science stuff. But then, sort of meh, that was where they were going to, is just, especially K through 12 education, which is sad because then you're basically having IQ decreases because you should generally have, the smart one should be the ones teaching. But over here, that's not what I'm seeing all the time. Now, there's a few exceptions. Like I knew a teacher in high school. He used to work in the stock market, and then like he was a millionaire, and then he left because it was, he I think he had like a heart attack or something. He's like, yeah, I can't do this. This crazy lifestyle. And then he became a teacher, and he was happy as hell. But he was one of those ones who just didn't give a shit. Like they wanted to fire him, he'd be fine. But he'd tell it how it was. He'd bring like donuts into the class. He just didn't give a fuck.
Nice. See, that's how teaching should be. Somebody that has the experience, dare I say, and then is kind of goes through from being selfish in a way to, collecting money, learning on their own, doing their own shit. And then kind of at the end of their life or the last third or whatever, they want to be selfless and give back and teach what they've learned. Instead, we get these people who have never lasted more than a day in the real world, in the real industry, and then they go right to college and teach. Like, I can't tell you how many of my app professors I could tell have never done marketing or advertising. And the best ones were always the ones that had been in the industry for double-digit years.
Well, it's like, anime, it's that cyclical autism where they don't actually see stuff being done in the real world. They see it done in literature. Yes. And then they get these extrapolations, and then you get a bunch of bullshit that you spend like $10,000 a semester on.
So professors are like anime.
Yes. Like
my professor's my waifu.
Like they're giving you this sort of view of the world that's abstracted. Like it's all done in a vacuum. Like especially take like these poli-sci classes. All this like,
God.
Here's this political ideology. Here's anarchy, and it's like, here's this ideology. Like most of who really gives a shit? Like 99% of the time, it's gonna be some variation of, free, like some sort of like liberalism, like in terms of liberal democracy. At least in the United States, like you're not going to be going into any of these. Like maybe you'll lean like socialist or lean fascist or lean conservative or lean this, but like it's never full Monty. Like why does this even matter? Like what even is poli-sci? It's just a waste of time.
Oh, poli-sci is our favorite major. You get many places with a poli-sci degree, don't you know?
Almost as much as a medieval studies degree.
Oh, dude, nothing beats medieval studies. You can get to many museums. You can be a TikTok star, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'll give them that. It's good to make TikTok videos, but you don't really need a degree to make TikTok videos. At least not yet.
No, you just need a nice piece of ass and some boobs.
Or
some autism.
Yeah, just stupid shit. You throw enough shit at the wall, something's gonna stick.
Yeah, and I'm not a person that's like, oh, you have to do what your degree is, because I understand most people technically don't do specifically what their degree is going to do, and that's fine. It's whatever works in the end, but your degree should help with something, It shouldn't be nothing. It shouldn't be all, probably won't be, but it shouldn't be nothing.
I think I always felt like that teaching should kind of fall in line with like a I don't want to say public service, but kind of in that light.
It is like public service. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like where people just go into it right out of college as a career, and it's like, well, these people should be living a little bit before they start teaching other kids about anything.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
No, I totally agree. Because that's the problem. How can you teach what you don't know or experienced?
I mean, this must be like an appointed position. Like, like maybe for professors or something. Like, you'd have to be recommended by your industry to go be a teacher.
Right.
You know, and then like from K through 12, I guess a school board would and then in that case, if they do it like that, that should definitely be like a sign, of something to be respected. I feel because that's showing that you're such a good person at doing this that you're being granted the opportunity to go and teach people.
Well, think of it this way too, because it shows you how fucked things are. We were generally the public respects veterans, but do we all respect teachers?
No,
Exactly.
because well, there's
I know
reasons
they're
for that.
different things, but they're still forms of public service technically, or should
No,
be.
they absolutely are. They are formed. They're public sector employees. You can see all their salaries online.
Oh,
Like
shit.
they probably ideally they should be respected, but like honestly, like there's some high school teachers I had that I truly do
Oh,
respect.
same. You always have
There's
those
a
onesies
lot,
and twosies, but by
but
and
there's a lot
large,
who just get by.
right.
You shouldn't be having that. Like if like I'd rather have fewer teachers, but they really give a shit, or pay them more, but like have less of them. If they actually do their job well. But a lot of them just don't. They don't make it interesting. They don't make it fun. And then they can spread propaganda. It's bad. Like it's one of the most important positions, and it's something that I think honestly, like some conservative organization, they ought to go and make some sort of scholarship for people who want to, like conservatives want to get into teaching, because this needs to be done. Like we need more of these people. Bad.
Need people with some balls and some experience, because a lot of these professors, or these faculty, I should say, that are like, oh, we need to mandate the vaccine. They just sound like a bunch of pussies. Like, you are vaccinated. Why are you crying and protesting to get 20%, 12% of the campus remaining vaccinated? What is going on? What are you worried about? Because they sound genuinely scared. Like, you could cough near them and they would lose their shit. They would probably kick you out of the room you're in. It's like, and that's what I've noticed between Penn State and the real world. And this is what I expected, but when you see it, it just confirms it so much more. Is how it's such a small, safe little world, academia, so far and away from reality that it's like Disney World. Like really, Penn State's like Disney World, and then you come out to the real world, it's like fucking Afghanistan. It's like, if you took these people, these professors, these faculty people, and you threw them into the corporate world or into boot camp or into anything that requires some hair on your balls, they would cry themselves to sleep. They
I would
wouldn't
love
be
to
able
see.
to handle it.
I would like that'd be a great idea for like a game show. They take like a public sector, like like professors or like K through 12 teachers, and like force them to do like regular office jobs.
Yes, it's like the reverse of Undercover Boss. It's like Undercover Employee, Survivor, Undercover Employee Edition.
Hi, I'm a marketing, I'm a marketing professor. I've been over at Penn State for like 20 years. Let's see how he does in an actual marketing company. And they're like, dude, what the hell you talk about these stupid theories? Get your ass to work.
Yeah. What's a SWOT analysis? Get that shit out of here. That's a marketing joke.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
That
would be funny.
Actually, would be entertaining. We should produce that.
Like, I'd love to go and see it be done at like, with some of these really weird like
gender studies.
Yes, like have them work in like, I don't know, it's like in a factory. I would love to see them do like manual labor, especially.
Now, have them work in Andrew Cuomo's office. Yeah, you want to see the patriarchy? Well, here you go. You can see it up close.
And what were they like? Medieval studies professor. Like, what would even be close to that? Have them work at like an actual like game company or something.
Yeah, have them LARP.
Oh my god.
Get them to the Renaissance Fair.
Have them plan the whole Renaissance, or like have them do that. And then, because it reminds me that they had like an episode of King of the Hill that was kind of like that, where they sent like there was some sort of like community college had a they had some sort of class open. It was like about like comedy or something, like how like it was like joking or like comedy 101 or like theater like 102 like comedy, and he took like Hank made Bobby take that class, because he didn't make him, but like Bobby wanted to go and take the class. Hank's like, okay, so to improve his humor, and then it became so fucking stupid. Like it was so abstract humor that no one actually finds funny.
It's like Sam Hyde.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm the what was that something the prancing clown, and then it's just like not even funny. It's just like weird and cringe, and it's just like this is exactly what college does, but like it's something easy you can see. It's like comedy, but like something else, like I don't even know, some of these stupid ideological classes, like these sociology classes. I'd love to see them do that in like an office job.
Oh my god, imagine sending Sam Richards to a corporate job or to some like rural part of the country to study something.
Yeah, honestly, I think that should be a requirement to be a professor. You should have to go and like every so often, like go and like the university, I guess, would partner with companies and like as like another sort of sabbatical thing, have you work in the field for like a year. You'd still get paid your professor salary or whatever, and then go and like you'd have to report on that, and if you fail, then you get fired.
Well, don't these
Like,
professors supposedly do a lot of research?
Well, they do research, but it's completely different than actually being able to do your job in a lot of these fields.
Right, but what I'm saying is you would think, because they do so much research, that they would actually understand what they're talking about and have a real world reflection from that research, but it feels like a lot of this research is just bullshit. Not saying all of it is, like a lot of the sciencey stuff is usually pretty legit, but you just get so much bullshit. It's like, where are you coming up with this? Like, there's studies shown that when people see black people, they think criminals, and therefore they don't trust them, or they walk on the other side of the street. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, there's some prejudice out there, but I don't see anybody go, oh my god, there's a black person. They like go on the other side of the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they'd say all this, but then like make them go and do in the real world, that would be so alien. Like, oh, what's all this is patriarchy over here? Like, have them work at have them work in like in a factory in a line.
Yeah,
like, oh, they like have like a politics person. Oh, especially like a communist one. Oh, this is the people. These are the oppressed classes, and it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Get back to work.
You imagine it's like a gender studies or women's studies professor with a hard hat on. They have to like pound nails in and like put a plywood.
Yes, that would be hilarious.
I'd pay to see that. They'd be like struggling like to push up, like, oh, I need help. And they're like, oh, sorry, we're busy painting the other walls. Like, get that shit up. Come on. You too weak? You should work. Just start doing some push-ups right now. Come on, let's go.
See, and the funny thing is, like, a lot of the STEM professors probably wouldn't do too bad. I mean, some of them are just bad, but they would be able to kind of do it for at least somewhat. But like, some of them, they'd actually probably know a little bit how to do it. So at least from my experience, a lot of them did either work part-time or they're a contractor.
Right.
They have some experience, but like, especially these like social sciences where you get all the wacky stuff.
Well, yeah, well, like, look at the gender pay gap. Imagine if we took a female professor from like gender studies or sociology, whoever's pushing the gender pay gap, we threw them in the corporate world, and we're like, okay, and their boss is like a female making like 6 figures, and be like, okay, tell me about the gender pay gap that you've researched and you found to be this big scary thing. Like, literally, my company that I work at is literally a bunch of women in my department, and all of them make more than me. I'm the only man, and I make less than all the females.
What they should go and do is like force them to go and work on the assembly line, and then be like, oh, well, here's we're gonna pay you. Here's what the average male is making. We're gonna pay you $1 more than that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna, so you're gonna be we're actually just like have them do it for like a month, and then see how much. It's like something like an assembly line where you can actually measure how much production like you're doing with real numbers instead of just fake stuff.
Yeah.
Or give them like a whole year, and then see how they'll compare to the other people.
Right. That'd be
You know?
entertaining to watch, honestly, because you'd see them like fuck up a lot, and you'd see them like struggling with what they're doing.
Oh my
They
god.
go, it's so
They
hard.
do a before and after like thing too, like they do low recording beforehand, low recording afterwards.
Yeah. Imagine you get with like a lawn service company, they have to like cut grasses,
Oh my god.
or you get them like
Yeah.
painting, do like all kinds of manual labor. Get them in the coal mines. Oh my god. Yeah,
Aw,
get some like
that would-
environmentalist professor in the coal mines.
That'd be funny as shit. That would be funny. Or have them like even have them actually like assemble these. Go to a factory in like Taiwan and have them assemble the semiconductors or whatever to go and make these solar panels.
Yes. They get like the
Some act-
libertarian, like like ultra capitalist people, professors. I guess you call they're like probably some like ANCAPs and econ, and just be like, okay, we're gonna send you to China, and you're gonna be in Foxconn factory, and you're gonna be building the next iPhone, and tell me how long you'll last. Oh, and by the way, you can't use all those suicide nets. Sorry, that's off limits for you. You can't get the easy way out.
Even the economics professors too at Penn State, like the one guy was like arguing for an increased minimum wage. Like, dude, this is so bad.
What?
And you're supposed to be like the base professors, but you know,
No,
that
mine.
was strange.
Mine was from, I think, Nicaragua or Kenya. One of those, because he had that accent. He was based. He's like, minimum wage does not work. It's just stupid. I was like, yeah, King, go off. Keep going.
Yeah, from Kenya, that's probably why he doesn't believe it works.
Yeah. He just kept saying, like, how it's, like, bad. Like, he didn't, like, give his opinion, but he was, like, really just sort of matter-of-factly, nonchalantly just say how this stuff is stupid, like raising the minimum wage or having the government control the economy. He just would very plainly say like how it's just retarded.
Yeah, I didn't really have any really cool. I mean, the closest thing like a real base professor I have is this one English professor. She was like basically saying, you know, be very skeptical of things that people tell you that like you haven't actually seen yourself.
Oh, nice. Oh, like 9/11? Okay, let's go. The Holocaust?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was thinking that, like, okay, gotta be careful with this rabbit hole. I'm not gonna, you know, but like, still, like, just being like skeptical and you know, and listening to evidence and stuff. I'm like, shit, you know, not many professors would have taken that take. I'll give her that.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I had anyone even remotely based except that econ dude. I wouldn't go so far as to even say that because I just don't know a lot about them. But I know some base faculty. I know the janitors were based.
Well, yeah, Chase Chanders.
Yeah. Base janitors.
Who do manual labor.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what we would have them do. Have them do janitor work.
Oh my god, that'd be great. That'd be
Every
great.
professor does the janitor work. Oh man, this is so. You know, I'm in the janitor position. I'm doing a real man's job. And have her go like clean the shit out of the sink.
Have them clean the frat houses.
Oh god, dude,
Uh,
that'd be funny as shit.
Well, I think too the cops seem to be. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna be dicks to some of us. I've had some cops who were dicks to me, but they're mostly cool with me. But the cops were on our side. I know, or at least they said that. I had one of them say he was on my side. I remember having a janitors come up to me when I was doing Turning Point stuff, and they were picking up our shit. But I think the only cool thing I had in any class that was remotely based was when in my telecom class, which was run by a total flaming leftist. He had this one guest speaker come in that I forget what he did or what it was about, but I remember it was kind of like some Snowden shit where he was saying how like, the government spies on you, how all these companies spy on you, and it was more along that sort of line, but that was the closest I'd gotten to some guest speaker. Like really, the janitors were cool. The the cops were mostly cool. That was really the closest I could find. I don't know if you found any other type of worker that was like that.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I had an issue.
I was just saying, I don't know if you ran into any other workers that were like the janitors or the cops that were actually like openly, well, not only openly pro-Trump, but you could tell were based or
Not at Penn
something.
State. I mean,
Yeah,
I have some coworkers like in the corporate world who are, but like
same.
at Penn State, it's hard. It's hard to come by over there. I mean, it's that whole environment, you know, and it's not surprising because at the end of the day, you know, Penn State's funded by taxpayer dollars. So.
Right. Well, that's the theory as to why they didn't mandate the vaccine. This one professor from Penn State was throwing a hissy fit, got his name in the Atlantic of all places, and wrote an article about it. And he claims that the real reason was they didn't want the Republican-controlled PA legislature to cut their funding. And that's why they didn't mandate the vaccine.
If so, you know, based.
Yeah, right? Well, actually, there's one dude that's good, actually, the admin, named Damon Sims. And I'm saying this because he publicly said it. When we did our speaking event with Sargon and got condemned, and I came to the UPA meeting, before I even spoke up, he was defending it, saying, this is free speech and we should encourage free speech. It's good. It's what colleges are about. And then I spoke up. And then afterwards, he even came up to me when I was done sitting down, pulled me aside and talked to me. And talked to me a little bit. And I told him, like, I appreciate him supporting it, free speech and all that jazz. But I was shocked to see that. I don't know where his heart was at, if it was a money thing, an image thing, or what, or if he really believed in it. But that was what I had.
No, that's.
I'm trying to think of another story I was about to tell about somebody based at Penn State. I can't remember what it was. Fuck, what was it? It was something. It was a good one too. I don't know if everyone was with you guys or something, but it was like, shit, I can't remember what it was. Oh, my mind's slipping. It was a good one too. That's why I'm frustrated. I can't remember it.
I don't know. Can't think of it.
Yeah, I can't. It was fuck. It was on the tip of my tongue too. I hate when that happens. Ugh. Because it is hard to find people like that. What was it? Ugh, man, you were mad by this. Somebody talk about something else.
Do we have any comments in the chat?
Do we? Do we have any gamers in chat? We do not. Lovely. Good. Real good.
That's good. What else do we have to talk about today?
You want to give us a Chris Chan update while I try to remember
Oh,
this
yeah.
shit?
Yes, I mean, hasn't really been too much with Christian himself since he was remanded to jail. He's with the men's jail now, from what I understand. He was placed there. So, you know, it's jail right now. It's not prison yet, so he's not going to get molested there as much. I mean, maybe he'll get punched, but, you know.
He's going to get bullied.
Dude, I could see some people from like Kiwi Farms or whatever going to jail just so they can like record, like doing something stupid to get sent to jail, like for 30 days or something, just to go and like document Chris Chan.
I could see that.
He's really a celebrity at this point. But the Isabella Loretta Janke, you know, it's pretty public now. She has her own subreddit with her full name in it.
Wow.
You know, she's apparently going to. Or she went to some sort of thing in New York today, like a hearing for allegedly, well, according to the summons, I believe it was for bringing a weapon into New York, and from what I understand, it's probably a taser. So she's probably.
Was she gonna tase Chris Chan?
No, she carried one around because I guess, you know, she figured that she'd be a target potentially, because she did, like, if you don't see her fingers or her toes or have any sense of smell, she doesn't look too bad, at least in a few of the pictures. But like, as soon as you know, see,
smell.
like, yeah, apparently she doesn't bathe, or she bathes in like cat piss or something.
Is she a feminist?
She's some edgy like Zoomer, like she's, I don't know, probably she's probably TERF.
Oh,
trans exclusionary radical.
so she's a base feminist.
Yeah, she's got a lot of opinions that are pretty. I don't know. She's got some weird opinions.
A bit out there.
Yeah, very. You know, like I can't tell where the truth starts and the trolls end because like you say a bunch of like all the ists, you're all the or the phobics, all of the above.
Sounds like
You
another
know,
psychopath we knew.
yeah, very, very just crazy and bizarre person. You go and see they're the summary of all the crazy shit she did. I think, God, it's so funny. She has her own sub, her own subreddit. I think they have a website that they're creating as well.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
of
just
course.
disgusting.
She's gonna be the another Kiwi Farms is gonna be born from her. Because if a Kiwi Farms was born from fucking with Chris Chan, she's gonna be the successor of that. It's gonna be like
Apparently
Pineapple Farms.
apparently the Blair White interview was a false flag, and
Oh, what do you mean?
apparently that's not gonna happen. Apparently it was a false rumor,
Oh,
and apparently there's an issue like there's gonna be a march on the 20th of August on Texas Tech University, which is allegedly where this monster goes to school.
what? What are they marching
You know,
for? They marching like rights
it
for Chris Chan. Chris
was
Chan
like
did
marching
nothing
against.
wrong.
I think it's marching against Loretta.
Who's Loretta?
Isabella Loretta Janke or whatever.
Well, why are they marching against
Isabella.
her? I'm saying, like, are they like pro Chris Chan or something?
No, I think it's just like she literally pisses off everyone on every side. Like, pisses off the left because she's, you know, the like she allegedly got some trannies to kill themselves. Allegedly,
Whoa.
and who that is, and you know, that's fucked up to get anyone to kill themselves, and you know, it's pretty bad. She said bunch like all the bad words, the gamer word numerous times in her
Jesus.
Discord leaks. You know, a
Oh.
number of other very offensive bullshit. Pisses off, you know, the right because she posts like lolly and like Shota hentai and stuff, and allegedly has some other things that she smuggled out of 4chan when she was a mod on there, allegedly.
Smuggled out of 4chan. What are you talking about?
Well, she used to be a mod, and when they would find cheese pizza on 4chan, like they would, you know, they'd have to go and see it and, you know, say if it was bad or good because she was a moderator. And
Oh.
according to rumors, there was claims that she would save the evidence and may or may not have allegedly sold this to other people, according to the
Fuck.
rumors.
Dude, that's
Or
bad.
her own person. And she also has pictures of herself as a kid. And from what I understand, she may or may not have she may or may not be selling pictures of herself as a child to child abusers, allegedly.
Does she have an
And
OnlyFans?
God, I don't think so. And she, you know, may or may not be excited at herself
Oh.
as a kid, as a child, because she's admitted to being a pedo.
Ooh.
Like being into all this showdown lolly and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff in these leaks. You know, this is all allegedly at this time because you know, for all we know, these could be fake leaks, but you know, just to cover their tails. From everything I've seen, like from the other people that went to school with her, they say she's screwed up, like she's and then just pissing off everyone, including animal rights activists, is the boiling of her hamsters. Like that's pretty bad.
Dude, you were so right when this is. I found a tweet that kind of went off what you said, but this is like 4chan's version of Tiger King. Because remember, you had the animal rights groups involved with Tiger King. It's happening here.
The animal rights, the anti-pedo, the you know racist, because she you know she also like allegedly, I don't know if she's joking or not, these leaks, but they said the leaks indicate that she may have sexually assaulted some females before.
Christ.
She was also gotten in trouble for dosing, like or trying to dose one of her quote-unquote friends with estrogen, who is a male and was not a trans person.
Jesus Christ.
She was trying to feminize this person.
Huh.
You know, she's buying and selling drugs like Adderall and stuff. According to those leaks, What else did she
So
do?
she, think of it this way. Chris Chan might get the last laugh because she kind of pushed him to do what he did, from what leaks show allegedly. But Chris Chan might get the last laugh because she might be sitting next to him in a jail cell. Imagine if they're in the same jail together. Oh. Or
Oh, there's no
prison, I
way.
should say.
They would not be in the same prison because, like, no, they're completely different areas. Like, Chris is Virginia, she's like Texas or New York, depending on where her rich daddy lives. Yeah, but there's even some other weird stuff too, like just you have to go and see those pictures of her feet. It's disgusting.
Oh, you sound me. I looked at it very
Like
quickly and kept
fungus,
scrolling.
the fungus, and like she's just like her house looks like, or her apartment looks like a hoarder place. She was allegedly with the cameras. You know,
You know what she
bragging
sounds
about.
like, and Christian is too, is that the Buffalo Bill from fuck, name's slipping on me. The Lambs movie. Silence of the
Signs
Lambs.
of Williams. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's like allegations too that she might also be trans herself,
Oh
like, but not
God.
like she might be like, you know, not actually came out as trans, because like I don't know. There's, you know what they say about people who hate a certain thing a lot. Like, I don't know about her because she loves women, you know, but I don't know. I think she's like bisexual too, because like she said that like when she would do guys, she'd like play like shove stuff up their ass and like play with their poop and stuff.
Ew.
Like
Oh.
really disgusting stuff, which
Like.
is not like that's a sort of, you
Oh.
know, habit with this person.
See, I can understand like the ass play, but the poop play. Ugh.
Like there
That's
is rumors
gross.
that I have not seen I have not seen any evidence of this, but I heard rumors that she was like eating cat shit. But you know, I don't know how true.
Christ.
That's probably someone trolling. But she did admit to eating. You know, I've heard from multiple people that she did boil and eat the hamsters.
Yeah, that's just so fucked up. What is
Like
wrong with these people?
trying to go and like tase her friend with like a, you know, quote unquote friend, because I don't think she actually has any friends because she is a sociopath with the taser. One of Bella's online simps is a Canadian neo-Nazi. Okay, that's not surprising.
Whoa. Whoa. Is she a Holocaust denier?
Yes,
What?
she's from, well, allegedly, yes, I have seen that from her, from the archives. She has done just about everything like that.
She
You
might
can
be an
find that.
unironic Hitler did nothing wronger.
Probably would be, because, like, honestly, you know, she'd be, like, right up there. Like, if she had that power, like, she would do some absolutely brutal and horrific stuff herself. And, like, you know, trying to, just, like, stealing from Chris Chan, too. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she just took advantage of him, but then also finds it pleasurable to like mess with him.
Yeah. I But she was stealing money from him. And I think she was trying to get him to kill himself. Like, it's one thing to go and like mess with someone, it's another to go and like allegedly try to get him to kill himself.
Why would she
You
do?
know?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why? Is it that psychopathic sort of? Yeah, just do because I want to, not because it's good or bad.
Well, she really hates trans people. Like, really hates trans people. Like, so I think that could be part of it. I think another part of it is that, you know, this is a popular internet person. Let's go and like tip the cow. Go mess it up for everyone else who was having fun, like reading the Chris Chan story.
Mm.
Like, it's
She's
beyond.
basically trying to be the Hitler against trans people.
Yeah, I don't know why she hates him so much. She does,
There's
you
something
know.
else going on then, because it is like you said, the people that hate a certain group, you're right, like to a weird degree, it's usually a projection sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to go and find that whole list. I know they have a list of like like 100 things long. I'm gonna go and find this. They had a whole list, and I think here it is. I'm gonna read everything from this frickin' list. Serial liar manipulator, potentially encouraged, groomed, or enabled Chris incest. Did this, okay, who cares? Also encouraged his illusions by communicating with fictional characters that Chris Chan believes be real. Tried to have him join a cult. Cult. Yeah.
Why would he need to join a cult? He started one.
Well, I think she like did some stuff too. Because there's some stuff in that Discord about like magic and stuff, like unironic and like it was some really weird like feminist like menstrual magic shit.
Ew. Ew, ew, ew.
She was like sharing like doctored, like doctored evidence of Chris, like with the BDSM stuff. That was determined to be faked, most likely by her. Yeah, she was getting people like getting fake IDs, not like that were under 21 to be used to perform like illegal transactions with Bitcoin. Let's see. She was trying to go and like hijack the one girl that was interested in Chris sexually. And then like when this stuff got found out, she tried to go and frame Fiona for it.
Fiona. Just think of Shrek.
Well, yeah, she's weird, but like, I don't know. Because like apparently she was in like some weird like, she's like has autism as well, and she has a relation, like she apparently has a boyfriend, but like they're in an open relationship because of course they are. Suicide stuff, breaking up the support systems that were she was admits to like breaking up the support systems that were created to help Chris like be financially solvent. Allegedly neglects brought up the pet stuff. He started throwing her own friends and others into, like throwing them under the bus to go and try to get people to stop screwing with her. Apparently bullied her cousin who works with children with special needs. I remember that one where she like made fun of her at the family dinner table and her dad and her cried.
Fuck.
Spreads information about her government-affiliated parents' drug use, psychological diagnoses, and extramarital love life. Oh, yeah, she's doxing her own family. Claims that her father had shown her Native American porn.
What?
I remember seeing. Yeah, there was a log in there. I think she probably was sexually abused at some point. Shota, rape, bestiality, pedophilia, fart, incest, and other fetishes, which she creates illegal content of and pushed onto others. So the other thing to note too is in Texas, it's illegal to possess underage hentai, alleged, from what I understand. So based on what I saw in the Discord logs, she runs afoul of that.
Of course.
Allegedly has or is worried about being caught with CP, not surprised. Avoid getting trouble at Texas Tech by making new Discord accounts and reporting her old server where they discussed inappropriate things to act like they were not involved. Lied on Title IX investigation. Has shat in her pants in recent history multiple times. Okay.
That's like the least worst thing she's done.
Has claimed to be a sociopath with ADHD. That's pretty common. Hates people with autism as transphobic. Okay. Pretend to be other people online. Okay, who cares? Created multiple sock puppet accounts on Kiwi Farms to shift blame onto others. Sold her medication to others. Has used others' vaccination cards to fake vax cards for herself and her family.
Based.
Don't care about that one. Has used others' legal driving licenses to create fake IDs for herself and others for the crypto scams. Uses devices made by her father's cybersecurity companies to assist in her online trolling campaigns. has bragged about her familial connections to Nazis, which, that's in one of the log files I discovered. Apparently her, like, great grandfather, whatever, was some sort of, like, Nazi. Allegedly
Okay.
stole her roommate's items and planted cameras around the room. Claims to have stolen panties from women, encourage others to do the same. Heavily inferred that she's an incel.
I don't know if I'd call her she's an incel.
Claims to get angry. Yeah, well, she gets angry when she sees women who are interested in men, not in her.
Oh, so she's just being a jealous bitch.
Took steroids in high school for wrestling.
Wait, took or cooked?
Took.
Oh, I thought I said cooked.
She really hates service staff and retail workers. I remember seeing that too, where she just be a cunt to them. Oh, let's see. There's a longer one.
By the way, I remember that thing I was gonna say about Penn State. Do you remember? It was a few months ago. There was that Instagram account I was telling you about. It was called Being Black at Penn State.
Yeah.
I had all these stories, and some of them were like, "Oh shit, we might have known people involved with X, Y, and Z." There was one where I had to laugh my ass off. She was like, "This one professor's so racist. He's conservative. He's an English professor, and all he shows are Breitbart and Drudge sources in class." I was like, "What kind of class is this?"
Where's his fake English professor?
I know, right, dude? I'm like, yeah, where is this bad man? I never heard about him or encountered him, but I think he was on main campus, but I'm not sure.
I wish I knew this person.
I know, I would have taken his class in a heartbeat.
I found a longer list. Disseminate information on or encourage conducting pagan rituals using the menstrual blood for purposes of placing spells on people.
She wouldn't be pagan.
In addition to targeting specific LGBTQIARP students on TTU campus, she had made a list of known members of the gay community, which carries its basically as a LGBTQ hit list sort of thing.
That's all.
Allegedly. Intentionally outed trans students to others. I don't care. Vandalized dormitory restrooms.
Who didn't?
Made the dorm area inhospitable to other dorming students and guests due to the sounds and odors emanating from her dorm.
Oh, I think we know where the odors came from.
Claimed to have mild autism, potentially as a way to gain forgiveness from one of her harassment targets. Allegedly involved in multiple suicides, so it's not just one.
Wait, involved?
Yeah, by bullying people to kill themselves, probably.
That's what I thought.
Has stated she was contacted TTU police to try to frame everything on her victim, the one that reported her and her associates, and that led to the Title IX proceedings. Yeah, she tried to get someone expelled because they reported her for some of the bullshit she did, like boiling hamsters, and she started to fuck with things.
So she Title IX people basically as like a weapon to silence them.
Yep. And who's gonna think bad of her? She's just this poor little lesbian woman. They won't think that she's this like son of Satan or daughter of Satan. Historically continues to spread the misinformation about her father's wealth and profession for her own benefit. Tried to create a Reddit post denying everything and playing the victim card. It was deleted due to negative response. She creates sock puppet Reddit accounts to deal with that. Her and her associates in her Discord are sharing personas and associated porn. She also paid money to a furry porn artist to create her persona. And that's disgusting. Of course she's a furry. Has bragged about using dark web websites, try to tase multiple students allegedly advocate for genocide on neo-Nazi forums and Reddit message boards. I think
genocide against trannies?
No, she apparently posts on r/Coontown or whatever.
What?
back when that was a thing, and
What?
some of the other ones, and like was saying like Hitler, did nothing. Like I don't know if it was just trolling, but like, some pretty fucked up things apparently. Bragged about attempting to lace other students' drinks.
What?
Bragged about rolling around in someone's piss on the shower floor, which turned out to actually be cat piss.
Ew.
Yeah, that's.
How could you live like this?
I don't know. She thinks that, it's a Zoomer troll.
Yeah, it's just irony, bro.
That's what you're getting now. It's the Zoomers.
See, I love Zoomers.
Well, she's now the representative of Zoomers on
She
Kiwi
is
Farms now.
not. But yeah, it's Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms is not representative of anything accurately.
It's funny too, because like Kiwi Farms, I think they had like their own trainee like suicide list, and now they're actually on the side of the. Yeah, it was like they had listed like how many like trainees killed themselves after discovery on like Kiwi Farms, and now they're actually working with trainees to go and like take down this piece of shit person. And apparently Texas Tech has known about the abuse since 2019 and advised students to drop out.
Wait, so whoa. So Texas Tech didn't try to solve the problem, try to go after Bella. They just advised victims to drop out.
Yeah, she was reported. Can we read this? There's a Reddit thread. I saw this post for like a minute before it was deleted. This on Reddit. Copy to prevent it from just being erased. Great work, mods. This is a throwaway account. Not going to name anyone, but we'll add info to everything that will put Tech in an extremely damning light. She has been reported since 2019 after she sexually harassed multiple students. She was reported again in 2019 when she first killed a hamster by putting it in a microwave. She was reported after she tried to tase multiple students. She was reported after she tried to convince multiple students with mental disabilities to commit suicide. She was reported after her Reddit account advocated for genocide when she was posting on the neo-Nazi subreddits Friend World and Coontown. She was reported after she bragged about attempting to lace other students' drinks. She was reported after she bragged about molesting another student. She describes how they attempted to fight back until she beat them into submission. She gloated that they stopped and screamed to stop. Holy shit.
That's sexual assault. How was this? How did she not get kicked out? At my school, you would have gotten kicked out for the taser.
But it's a woman.
Yeah, but she's still a rapist. Allegedly.
Her parents also have a lot of money, from what I understand. The students who were the victims were pressured by the school to drop out, not report the crime to Lubbock police, or to leave the school. Texas Tech admins protected her to protect their reputation. Do not believe the bullshit lie about them not knowing anything. I reported her after she started telling people she killed one of her hamsters by putting it in a microwave. Who brags about putting hamsters in a microwave?
Dude, protecting your reputation, that's like saying Penn State is defending Sandusky to protect their reputation.
Yeah, like this is probably gonna be their like Sandusky, but instead of being like an employee, it's
some
student.
Fucking internet meme.
Like, that's just fucked. Like, I don't know. Like, if even like half of it, like, just the hamster stuff is fucked. But that's like of all the things that she's done. And that's not even talking. And they didn't even mention the dog too. Like apparently she had that dog. And that's how she got doxxed. It was this like black lab, and apparently, allegedly, it was mistreated so bad that got some sort of infections in its paws, and they had to, be put down because it was just neglected. And apparently, she killed the hamsters because she didn't want to bring it home with her.
Christ.
Allegedly.
Psychopath.
Yeah, like honestly, she's like more interesting but less likable than a Christian. That's a hard thing to do these days.
She's more fucked up than Christian. Christian's already pretty fucked up.
Well, the thing is, like, the difference between her and Christian is, like, you see her on the street, you think it's a, relatively normal person. You see Christian, you know that something's wrong with them. Like, yeah, and that's what's scary, too. Like, how many people like this exist?
Right.
How many people, like, that you walk by every day are really these, like, just sociopaths?
Well, if you go to a meet your CEO, then you'll be in the room with a sociopath.
Oh yeah, but like her, it's like just crazy, like how, and then like apparently she's like apparently some people trying to defend her somewhere, and they're like, oh well, you guys are being misogynist. You know, it's a woman because she's like studying
Okay.
computer science.
That's like
It's
the
like,
people that are saying you're being transphobic for misgendering Chris Chan after he's been arrested
yeah,
for
which
incest.
yeah, I'm wondering too. Like, so I wonder what really happened. I don't know.
I don't think
I'm
we'll
wondering.
ever know.
Well,
Unless
I
Bella or somebody else talks and gives like a confession or a full explanation.
I hope that they have a recorder somewhere in there because you ever see that show like Court Cam? You know,
No.
like they. I love that show. Like they basically go and do like the court cases and stuff, and like people do crazy shit, and it's like it's like because it's the actual video camera footage.
Yeah.
Like one of the few actual like TV things like cops, but you know it's just at different courthouses.
Oh, I
Like
remember
they need to get
cops.
they need to get one of that for like the Chris Chan trial. Cause I wish someone would have got the recording of that where he just like stamps his feet and demands to go back home.
Oh my god.
Like, they could make money off of that. Like people would pay good money
Well, they
for that.
can't film court stuff for some reason. I don't know
I think,
why.
and I think Virginia they do allow that. Like PA they don't, but I think the judge can allow it.
Why don't they allow it? I don't understand that.
I think the judge can, like you can't, but I think that they can have a reporter in there. And I think
Well, they can
in
have a
some
reporter
cases,
in there, but that's why they have the sketches and illustrations.
well, some of them do, but like you remember the Jodi Arias trial? I think that was, I
Well,
think that
these
was live.
famous cases almost always have film or have cameras in them.
Yeah, because it's up to the judge, and they probably can get money off of that because the only one allowed to, I think, is the court, or the, you know, they could probably some company could probably bid on it, and it's probably a way for the court to make a shit ton of money if they know it's worthwhile. Otherwise, you know, I think that they should, like for cases like this, I think this Christian case would be absolute gold mine. Like, because you imagine they get that recording, like at least a funny moment, so they could go and mash that into like a special, and they could put on like Netflix or something and make a ton of money.
Oh no. I
Like,
bet you they're gonna make a Netflix doc on this motherfucker. I bet you it's
Yes.
gonna happen. I'm just saying. I don't know if
Well,
it'll
I mean,
be
they
good,
already
bad, or ugly, but I'm just saying it's gonna happen.
they already have a 60-hour like YouTube documentary, so I mean,
But it needs to be
you
a
know, they
bit more condensed for the average person.
to talk to like Gino or something, just have him like splice something together, and they have like that 2 hour like down the rabbit hole series.
Christ.
He did an episode on him, and I think like yeah, I mean he deserves because he could easily be like do another mini series like Tiger King, like you
Well, that's
know
what I think
like
they're
how
gonna have to do is something like that.
because it would be perfect. You show it to people, and it would become a phenomenon. Like people who have no idea who Christian is because it's just frankly, you know, up until now it's pretty obscure. Now it's like on newspapers in other countries, you know. Like I saw like some stuff. I think it was like in Poland or something. There was like a newspaper with like Christian on it, like the front page. I was just like, this is crazy, you know. This
So
is weird guy.
hilariously bad.
Yeah, and like now I hope that they do have that march on Texas Tech though.
Oh my god, dude, that'd be because so many people will come there like Ethan Ralph or these other fuckers to fuck with it.
Well, I don't know how he's gonna get over there. You know, that's a little bit far away. Like he get to Christian because he lives in Virginia.
Right, but you get my point. It's like these internet people will show up. It'll be like, fuck. What if Alex Jones shows up?
That'd be funny as shit.
Well, the one thing I'll say, and then we'll close out for tonight because it's getting late, and I won't keep you guys on too long. But with Chris Chan, shit, I was gonna mention something. I can't remember what one of the things I was gonna mention was. But do you know when his next hearing is? Where they're gonna do the sentencing, or when they're gonna schedule the sentencing? Do you know when any of that's going down?
I think that they're supposed to have a update in September, like 16th or something. Like that's. But I think his attorney made is like can motion for bail, but like or bond or whatever, but there's no way he's gonna be able to afford any sort of bond because he has no income
Christ.
and he has nowhere to live.
I'd
I mean,
feel
he's probably
so
better off.
sorry for that lawyer.
Like, well, apparently, like people have been sending him so much messages. He has like a canned response for people asking about Chan.
Oh, it's so bad. So bad. But I think, well, we do have somebody in chat. Holy shit. Travis. The description has a typo. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll fix that. Did you guys know that the spike protein in the virus is a cytoxin? No, I've heard about that. You mean the vaccine? Oh, I see. He's self-censoring so he doesn't get fucked by YouTube. Anyone else watching? Sociopaths don't feel empathy, and she's a psychopath. The difference is violent crime. Well, it's not just violent crime. I think sociopaths have some level of empathy, I think. I'll look it up. The twist will be that Bella is the real bad guy. No, it's true.
She is. She's honestly like Chris allegedly, with the rape stuff. Like he hasn't been charged with it. He's just charged with incest right now. We don't even know the true story of that. That's just with one person. Bella, allegedly, bragged about it. Like, and Chris probably didn't think what he was doing was wrong either. If he did, he didn't think it was that bad. Like, she was bragging about it, and it was pretty out there. And on top of the hamster boiling, on top of the lying, on top of all the other degenerate behavior, like she is probably one of the worst people, in modern history.
Worse than Hitler.
Like if she got to this position, I think she'd do even more fucked up stuff because Hitler loved animals.
Yeah.
She like literally like that's the one thing. He was vegan and he like loved animals. He just didn't like certain ethnicities and religions. She does not like those same ethnicities and religions.
What?
And she hates animals. Yeah, she doesn't like Jews. She doesn't like black people. Allegedly, according to the screenshots.
Wait, and Chris Chan hated those groups too?
Oh, Chris Chan did also. Well, I don't think he understood what he was saying. His parents.
Did people on the internet just tell him 1488 Hitler did nothing wrong and he just like went with it?
This was before then. He said he did Chris Chan did blackface at one point. There's a picture of that somewhere. But I don't know how much he actually understands. I know he called some like annoying Jew or something, and he used that as a derogatory term. Like the black man pickle suit, like the Jew in the pickle suit after the trolling incidents.
Well, this is the thing people can understand with autistic people is that they really, from what I've observed, is they really don't fully understand what they're doing. So it kind of gets a little complicated in really saying if they are really guilty of these crimes, because it's like, yeah, they did it, but did they really consciously, intentionally do what they did?
I think he was just regurgitating his parents' opinions because they're from the South. Virginia is a southern state. Bella, on the other hand, either she's trolling and trying to be an edgy Zoomer troll, or but after seeing the hamster stuff, I can see her actually believing this. She likes Indian girls though, because apparently there was one with her fingering one. Like, oh, I think there's a screenshot. It was like, oh, I want to finger this Indian bitch, and she said that I need to get manicure first, so she just got a Sharpie marker and painted her nails black with it. And it's like,
the fuck?
No, God, whatever unlucky, Indian girl got fingered by her probably is a nasty UTI after that. Nasty fungal infection.
Hey Travis, have you been following the 4chan Chris Chan shit? He's still in chat. Gave us a lull. He's having fun. We already talked about all our other topics when we heading out soon, but what do you want us to talk about, Travis? Do you have a question? Anything you want us to talk about? We can probably answer some questions. I mean, I don't know if you know us too well, but we're a bunch of Penn State boys involved with Turning Point at one point. Did an event with Sargon and Hunter Avalon. Follow a lot of internet drama, play video games. Well, not too well. As I fall down on some train tracks. Watch movies, like music. What other shit do we do? Like, what's the story of this? I've worked on the Trump campaign. Yeah, we're very based, very red pilled.
Sounds cringe these days.
What based
So
and red
what's
pilled?
yeah. Oh my god.
No.
It's like on Twitter. I just looked up Texas Tech and there's someone with the using toenails glued on. It's a picture of her toenail, the fungus toenails. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Fungus.
Dude, those have been like
So
the
bad.
protest signs. It's like with Caitlyn Bennett when they call her poopy pants. They'll call this bitch like ugly toenails or something.
Well, there's like a picture of like allegedly like shit on her floor too. Like allegedly she like shit herself, and this has happened multiple times
That's bad.
with the feces, and like she likes feces. She played with poopy. You know, I had to go back to the kiwi farms.
Travis says, I watched 10 parts of the documentary King. You went farther than I did. I remember you got me into it, Alex, when I was with you one time back in like 2016, 2017. You made me start watching that bullshit, and I didn't get too far. I couldn't handle it. Hit too close to home.
It's hard to. It's just such a weird story, and like some parts, like honestly, Chris wasn't doing too bad up until this incest incident. He was actually doing pretty well, like for himself, relatively. I mean, he's probably gonna lose his house, but you know, he's definitely losing it now. And he's also probably not gonna be allowed to live within like 300
He's probably
feet.
going to prison, bucko.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, that's actually probably good for him because they can make him take his meds. He can probably get psychological help there. You know, because where he was at, he wasn't taking psychological help. Like he had a court-ordered psychiatrist at one point, and he just, I guess, bullshit his way through it and take it to heart. He believes that there's like video game characters are going to be merging into our reality. Like you could see that when he got arrested, he just didn't care.
Because he doesn't really understand what's going on. He really doesn't fully understand.
Like he believes that this dimensional merge is going to happen, like unironically.
So he's like Alex Jones, but like fused with extra autism.
It was like some weird. So the whole theory, from what I understand, is like he has his like this multi-dimension theory, and like he has this dimension called like Quickieville, and that's where like ponies and the anime characters and all the like toys and kids shows and shit, they're all in that, like all these cartoon characters and stuff are in Quickieville, and he's the mayor of Quickieville.
What?
And
I love the guy that trolled him and took his PlayStation account and sold and put on eBay. It's like, I'll give it back to you if you say that Billy Mays is the mayor of Quickieville.
Oh yeah, like I mean it's funny as shit, but like it's pretty fucked up, and it probably damaged his psyche. Like look, yeah, like the funniest one. Did you see there was like a 2-hour call, like one of the trolls, like there was a girl he wanted to go and date, and like they called her, he called the parents, and he's trying to go and like I guess you know talk to the father because you know, he wanted to go and talk to the father first before they could date. I mean, because it was a troll. And then they just like complete like shit on him for like the whole like 2 hours, just like talking about like how he isn't doing anything with his life. And I was like, oh yeah, well see, I get Social Security. That's where I'm making my money from. And like, I draw a comic, I draw pictures online. I made the Sonichu comics. Like, oh yeah, you mean you know just taking two already trademark characters and putting them together? That's real original. And like they just completely shat on his whole like existence for the whole 2 hours. Like it was fucked up watching because I could just see him like dying inside. But like, you know, I think he needs some sort of dose of reality at some point. But I think it was already by then probably too late. But he really started getting downhill when I guess it was the Idea guys is when they put the dimensional merge stuff in his head. That like all these cartoon characters were real, and they started like blackmailing him by saying these cartoon characters were like, you know, like he's basically holding these fake fictional cartoon characters in his own fictional universe hostage.
What?
And it basically like broke him because he now thinks that like he's this anime character thing called like CPU Blue Heart slash, and he also
CP.
uses CPU
Oh,
Blue Heart. Like your Intel and your AMD, and he's CPU Blue Heart of the what was it was like the Commodore 64,
oh God.
and he's also like inhabited by Sonichu and like Magi-chan, which I don't even know what exactly Magi-chan is, but I think it's like a guy, and that's what convinced him to become gay or bisexual or whatever. Was this Magi-chan like Sonichu? It's almost like this demon because he was like, he'll say that Sonichu made him do things now. Yeah, it's just
Christ.
bizarre. And he carries around that emblem with him too. He like made that out of like Crayola or some. I forget how he made it. It was like some plastic medallion.
Well,
He,
he
he carries.
reminds me of is that actually meme because he looks like it and he sounds like it with his voice.
Yeah, and like if you look at him originally, like back when he first was on the internet, he wasn't actually too bad. Like, I mean, he was always a little bit goofy, but like nowhere near as just terrible looking as he is now. Like
Yeah,
you see his original ones, they actually kind of looked all rightish, I guess, but like now he's transgender,
kind
you
of.
know, a lot more obese than he was beforehand.
Yeah, the mugshots have declined. I agree. Travis's other comments here. He said, "I've enjoyed your content. Awesome. If you haven't yet, give us a subscribe, like, and share the content as well. It helps us create more of this awesome content. Share with more awesome people like yourself. I only care about the government at this point. I'm obsessed with the advance of authoritarianism. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. How with the COVID restrictions and all the other shit's happening, how it's getting way more authoritarian, and with China fucking everything up and cucking our country. The more I hear about this Belichick, the worse she sounds." Yeah, it's so true. He's totally delusional. Yeah, this happens with autism. Do you know about Liquid Chris? Do you?
Yes,
Do you know
yes.
the
So
Liquid Chris, the Muffin Man?
yeah, so he was the person that pretended to be Christian. I think he was the one involved with that call because like that during that call they mentioned like Liquid Chris because he was pretending to be Christian Weston Chandler, and that they said that the actual Christian was like Ian Brandon Anderson or something, and he would basically do everything that Chris did but like better. Like Chris back in the day, he used to release videos to YouTube, and he would like do these shitty like songs on like Guitar Hero and stuff, and like voice over them. And then like Liquid Chris would actually play the songs with like a real guitar, and they actually didn't sound like half bad. Like everything he would do, Liquid Chris would do better. Like, like the real owner of Chris of like Sonnet or whatever, and like Quickieville, and they just like trolled the shit out of him with it. But it was like a lighthearted troll. It wasn't like the other trolls where they like got him to shove shit up his ass or like blackmailed him or extorted him. He just did it in good fun. Like out of all the people, and he's apparently now like a doctor, like a
Christ.
cancer doctor. You know, like honestly, he was like one of the few trolls that were actually funny.
Mm.
You know, like there were some other trolls that were pretty funny, but like some of them, like the idea guys and like the
Blue
blue
Ice.
spike guy, he went pretty far. Isabella's like by far the worst, like hands down. The idea guys would have been at second because they basically just made his mental illness significantly worse. But like, and like the blue ice or whatever, he just like he was the one I think that got him to shove the medallion up his ass.
Yep. Jesus.
And like it was he also the one that like stole his like PlayStation or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
God. I think there was that also Blue Spike that made him destroy his PlayStation like with a hammer?
I think so.
Maybe
think
that was
so.
someone made him like take his PS3 and like record a video of him destroying it.
I
This
think
is
that
like
was because I think that's where the Billy Mays threat came out. I'm not sure. I forget, dude. It was like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
well, see, that's why they need like I mean, I love that they have a 60-hour documentary, but they need to do a better job of it.
We need
Like
a more
someone needs to
abridged version.
like I mean, you have the whole wiki, but like yeah, that can be hard to follow sometimes.
Well, yeah, everything you send me, I mean, I read and look at, but it's a lot. It's hard to follow. Do you know
Oh,
about
yeah.
Local Chris? Local Chris was my favorite. I feel like Chris was MK Ultra. Yo, I could see it. The trolls
Yeah, well,
traumatized him and then
there,
brainwashed him.
dude, it's actually there is some truth to that. The glowy,
Oh yeah,
MK
'cause their
Ultra stuff.
feds are out. They're feds.
Yeah, because Isabella was using Fed hardware, or like government contractor hardware. Because her father was, I think, involved with FBI or something, or CIA.
Christ.
And the daughter of two basically feds created Isabella. The scum of the earth. He had to be taken down by the feds. I'm
She...
surprised he didn't someone didn't troll him to go January 6th. That would have been fun.
Or Charlottesville.
Yeah, he's really close to there.
He would have fit in too, based on his views.
But he probably would have been on the
He would have.
LGBTQ side.
No, he would have been at the Tiki Torch March.
Mm.
Can you imagine Chris
Isabel-
Chan chatting like Jews will not replace us. Like that would
No,
I could see
he'd be
him
on the.
doing that.
I could see him on the other side, and then getting kicked out for sexually harassing the lesbians. That's why he went trans.
Why? No, wait. What was his rationale for going trans?
I think he admitted somewhere that it was so he could pick up lesbian chicks.
Okay. There are other ways to do that, but sure.
I mean, it didn't really work for him. Other than his mom, the only other person he's been inside was a prostitute. And someone paid for him.
Jesus. Somebody on the
Apparently-
internet, a troll.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that. Well, the idea was to fix the love quest, but I guess that didn't work because he wanted to get round 2 with his own mother. God, this is so bad. But it's of all the endings for Chris, and this isn't even ended yet, so we don't even know if this is gonna be your ending. I always thought he was gonna get busted for kids stuff or, going Columbine, but this thing with his mother. At least it wasn't. Well, I don't even know. At least it's just his mother. I was afraid it was gonna be someone. Well, because his mom isn't a saint either. One, she raised him. 2, she groomed him allegedly. I don't know. I'm not saying she's responsible for this, but there's some fucked up stuff that happened between those two that was done by her. So I'm not really surprised this happened because he admitted that he had feelings about her for years leading up to this. But yeah,
I find the funniest part is the Fed angles, the Fed connections. It's like,
yeah,
no.
Feds they want to take down Chris Chan, federal government. Because now they're I'm pretty sure that there is some Fed action against kiwi farms after this because
How many times have they gotten DDoS at this point?
Dude, they're still down. It's pretty bad. And they had again I mean, they were already getting DDoS beforehand, but it got way worse after the Bella stuff started to leak. And she has access to, dark web resources, significant financial resources, government resources potentially. I mean, God, it's funny too because her dad, he made all these self-help books and he has multiple cybersecurity companies. Just a weird character. And apparently she was telling her Discord buddies that he was doing ayahuasca in the woods or something, or and getting stoned out of his mind. I don't know. That could be a code name for some federal operation training stuff going on in the woods of Texas.
Travis says the LOL troll feds. Wow, I was joking, but that is crazy. I've heard about the grooming. Fucking
yeah,
feds.
it's just weird too, because her stepmom was ex. The father was that FBI, CIA, whatever. The mother or the stepmom was ex Secret Service, and I think she's a CIA as well.
Oh, dude.
And she was the one who did that video about psychoanalyzing people. I think she was one of those interrogators or something for the CIA, and she did this like lecture about like mental illness. I'm like, I think I know who she's talking about. Stepdaughter. God, like man, everyone in there is just terrible. You know,
Why?
I hope
I'm
that
curious to hear your answer before we close. But why are you so into it? I'm just curious. Like, what
well,
about it is
because
so enticing? Because don't get me wrong, it is intriguing. Like, I feel you, but I'm wondering what is it about that has caught the internet by storm? It's like Tiger King. Why are people like so fucking obsessed with this? And that's what I'm saying with
what
Christian. Is like, why are people so
well,
obsessed with it?
Christian, because they basically like Christian's always been sort of a fringe internet thing, but like after this, like he's just a walking meme. This like sort of incel, like obese, trans, brony, like every sort of weird thing, like weird subculture, anime, brony, furry, autistic,
That's not a
trans, like
subculture.
well, like all these like weird things like mashed into one, like just a walking meme. He's just funny to look at. He's a lolcow. Like there's other
Yeah.
lolcows out there, but then like the whole thing with Isabella that got people's interest because she tipped the cow. She tipped the lolcow, the king of lolcows, the person who basically was a reason for Kiwi Farms. She basically screwed up everyone's fun time by making her involvement with this, and then people looked into her, and it's like every time I hear something about her, it's worse.
Well,
It's
Christian
worse.
is literally the original lol cow.
Yeah, but like Isabel, like she's just like every time you hear about her, it's like something bad. Like, because at first it was just like, oh, this is just a weird person. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is bad. Then like the DMs start leaking and the Discord servers start leaking. It's like, oh, well, she's a lesbian. Oh, she hates trannies. Oh, she abuses animals. Oh, she allegedly sexually assaults people and brags about it. Oh, has disgusting features. Oh, she's a redditor. Oh, and it's just like it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And now she had those like weapon charges, and it's like, and it was fine too because she's trying to be smug. She was like, "Oh, you can't dox me. We won the internet." She was bragging about it, and now she's like probably shitting her pants because it's like, "Oh, you don't brag to people about like, hey, you can't hack me. You can't dox me. Haha." Especially when and for all that, like, thousands of dollars of cybersecurity technology and probably training she had from her father, she still, reused usernames, trusted people with all this bad information, and it's almost like a Shakespeare, like a drama, like a Shakespearean drama, like Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet, where it's like Chris was doing so well, he was about to go to the convention he always wanted to go. He's going to have a decent bit of spending money there. He was going to have the time of his life, and it would be funny. Everyone would get funny pictures of Chris doing this, and he might actually have a way to make money and live a somewhat decent life after this. And hey, there's actually a girl that was legitimately interested in him sexually. Like the crazy thing, we didn't think there was anyone out there like that, but it shows that there's a girl interested in just about anybody. If Christian could find a girl who was like longing for him, and he threw it all away because he wanted to bang his mom.
Travis
That's
says, I appreciate the interaction. You guys have set time for your podcast. Yeah, no problem, man. We love interacting with the chat. Our set time is usually 9:30. Sometimes come on a little later, but around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you subscribe, you will get in your notification feed or your sub feed, usually, if YouTube isn't being mean to us. And if you hit the bell, you can get a notification. I think the obsession with Chris is like people watching zit popping videos or train wrecks. I see what you mean by that. It's like that guilty pleasure that just kind of like seeing this sort of thing, so weird things.
he's the most documented person. It's like what was that movie with the guy from When Nature Calls in it? That one from like the 90s or like late 80s. The
Ridgemont
the
High.
Truman The Truman Show.
Oh, Truman Show. Yeah, you were Jim
It's kind of
Carrey.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that. The Truman Show. It's like that's kind of what we have over here. Is we don't have the video camera live feed of them, but we have just about the next best thing. All the weird stuff that he's done. Like it's like a live event that's happening. It's a real person, but we have all this information. It's like a look into the just bizarre mental illness, and then it's people like interact with them, and it's just gets weirder and weirder, and he's just such a fascinating person. Like, I don't know, I just like how you can see the way that the internet left its mark on him, and it's not necessarily good. It's kind of funny in some ways, kind of sad in some others, and fucked up all the way around.
Travis also says, I love how Redditor was the last thing on the list. Yeah, it's funny. He was reading the list you're talking about, Isabel. Like, Redditor was like the last bad thing she was.
Oh, the funniest thing too is she did a roast me.
Oh my god, she did.
Yeah, she did like a roast me on like Reddit like years ago. Like they found it, they're like, and now she's actually getting the truth. Like people are actually like roasting her.
That's hilarious.
Like a monkey's paw thing. It's like, oh, you want people to go and roast me and to be funny? Yeah, well, we're gonna have the whole like internet roasting you because like she like photoshopped that picture too. Like, I'm pretty sure like there was rumors that she was stuffing her bra for that picture, and then now they're like seeing pictures of her like disgusting toenails and like the shit in her room and the boiling him. It's just like she's getting a proper roast now.
That's funny. Well, it's getting late on our side of the pond, so we'll close her out tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Travis, for tuning in. Awesome to see you in the chat there. Subscribe to the channel to get more awesome content like this. Like the video and share it with your friends. Break the YouTube conditioning. Break the YouTube algorithms and get the truth out there, because that's what we're trying to do here. Travis says I'll be back. Have a good night, guys. Hit me up if you want to buy property in Arizona. Shit, that's awesome. Thank you so much, man. And we will be looking forward to seeing you next week on Saturday. So the other thing, we always do 9:30s, but we do Saturdays. Saturdays are stream days. We do Saturdays at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I know you're out in Arizona, so it's like a 3-hour time zone difference, I think. I know the time change between Arizona and Utah, or wherever was I? Yeah, I think something like that. Or it even changed within Arizona, I forget.
The Mormons probably their own time zone. Weirdos.
They probably are. Well, thank you again, Travis, for tuning in. We'll see you next Saturday at 9:30 p.m. right here on Versa Me of Real News.